Good morning, Raptorfreaks. Lexi Out's here, and it's Thursday, and we're doing Thursday Think Tank. And that means you guys can call in if you want to. The number is available to those that can see it, and you can call in and we'll talk on the phone about the game. It's coming up with the playoffs with Raptors versus the Cavs in the first round of the NBA playoffs this year. Yeah, I was, looking over the rosters and thinking about things and visualizing matchups and kind of figuring out things for the Raptors a bit in the matchup versus the Cavs. And, there's some things I kind of figured out. Of course, yesterday they had practice interviews with Darko and a few of the players. And those are interesting to kind of glean information from as far as what they're thinking this week going towards the first round game. Game one at 1 o'clock on Saturday. Raptors at Cavs. Yeah. Darko said they had a very good film session yesterday, that they went over a lot of stuff. Well, not too much. And the players really were engaged and took the film session as very useful and a great learning experience to be prepared for what's coming up. That's good. The reporter asked, "Do you throw a phone book of information at them right away?" And he's like, "No, we're kind of picking and choosing the things that are most important to talk to them about." The coaches are discovering everything and figuring everything out on their level, but they're letting the players have the amount of information that they can handle to not overwhelm them. So very, very good interviews yesterday. Darko kind of annoyed with the press. I love it. They came at him with questions about what, being the underdog and not being the favorite team. And Darko is basically very adamant that we don't care what anybody else says. We're not listening to them. We have our circle of trust with our players, our medical and our players and our cat coaches. And that's it. We're not listening to anybody. He said that he did make an allowance, though. And I think that we are included in this. He said, we are listening to people that ride with us, that live and die with us, and that are very much keeping track of them all the time. So I was like, wait, that's the Raptor Freak channel. So I guess he is kind of listening to us because he said he only wants to listen to people that ride with them through the ups and downs and really understands their journey. So, not the people that come and look at them for a second, go away and ignore them for 6 months. That I think that's what he means. If you know the Raptors, you know the Raptors. If you don't know the Raptors, you don't know the Raptors. And I think if you put the time invested in like what we do every morning here, I think we know the Raptors. So it could very well be he was including us in the circle of trust yesterday. Yeah, and Scotty, he didn't even know. Like they came at him and said, "You are the underdogs in this series." Scotty didn't even know. He's like, "What? I didn't hear that." It's like, what do you mean? I don't think of it that way, that we're the underdogs. I think we have a really good chance to win this, is what Scotty said. Yeah, I like that. I think that it's just a natural thing to start the perception war that, yeah, we're supposed to lose by saying, yeah, you're the underdog and you're supposed to lose the Cavs. And then a lot of Raptors fans get really pessimistic and they start thinking, yeah, we're going to lose to them. We're going to lose to them and all this stuff. It's crazy. I don't understand that. We have a really good chance to beat them. We really do. ESPN matchup predictor has the first game at 56 or 57% chance the Cavs win. That's not that good compared to like some of the percentages I've seen this season. That's still within variance. That means like we can win 43% of it. That's what I'm saying. There's a good chance we could beat them. The first game will set the tone of the series. And, they want to go in there and get the first game. Scotty's all about winning basketball games. That's what he's trying to do. RJ's same thing. When he's had his interview yesterday, he said, yeah, we just got to take it game by game. We win the first one. Well, that sets a whole tone. Immediately, it takes the home court advantage away from Cleveland and gives it to us. And they're scrambling. And they're thinking, wow, we didn't beat them all season. And now they've beaten us in the first game on Saturday. That will cause a lot of problems for Cavaliers Nation, for their players and their fans. because they may start getting kind of mental problems with like, oh my gosh, can we beat the Raptors right now? Because we didn't beat them this year. There's a lot of good stuff that could happen with that. RJ's awesome. RJ revealing that he was a Raptors fan right up until the draft yesterday, until he had to become a Knick. And he was in pre-draft workouts in LA when the Raptors were going for the championship in 2019. And he was talking about how he was a fan of them at that point and just really carrying on and watching them. They asked RJ, how do you tell your teammates about the crowd at Scotiabank Arena and how Raptors are for playoffs and stuff? He say, oh man, well, I don't really know myself because I haven't played here with the playoffs, but I come here as a fan and I know, they're gonna see. They're gonna see Jurassic Park. They're already starting to set it up outside in Jurassic Park next to the arena, getting all the bleachers and the railings set up to charge tickets to go in to see Jurassic Park. Yeah. Yeah, it's good interviews. The one that impressed me the most yesterday, though, was Walter. Jacoby Walter is a very serious person. He may like dress like a college kid with his backpack and his glasses and his style, like he's going to class every time you see him in that entryway when he's coming in to the Raptors games. He may dress up like a college student. He's the right age for it too, right? To a degree. He's the right age. The thing that Walter said yesterday, and he was so serious yesterday in the interview, and we don't interview Jacoby enough. I'm going to say this right now, but I feel like he needs to be interviewed more because he's a great voice for the Raptors. He's a great uh, uh, representative. He's a great representative of the Raptors. Very well spoken, very mature, very articulate, and also very serious. Let's just put it that way. I love what Jacoby said. And in fact, there's a thing that he said that struck me as being like, I had a premonition yesterday. He gave me a premonition that he's going to be amazing in these playoffs, guys. That Jacoby is going to surprise everybody and he's going to go to a whole other level of how he plays in this playoff, guys. Because this is what he said. I take it he's just saying that, Lex, because he's got to say that. But I believe this because the way he goes about his business and training and putting up shots and doing what he does to be who he is, because he's doing it the right way. Once again, there's something about Jacoby Walters is just the truth. He's doing it the right way. And he revealed yesterday, I'm taking up shots a lot. That's why I make my threes like I've been doing lately, is because it's unconscious. I'm not thinking about it. I'm putting in the work. I'm putting in reps. I'm shooting so many shots all the time after games that I can do this in my sleep at this point. That's the kind of preparation and that's the kind of status you want to get with your three-point shot in your unconsciousness. Is that you've done it so much, the body remembers, and you don't even have to have any part of your brain involved. And that's Walter right now. And in some ways, that kind of mentality and that kind of work, pre-work ahead of the playoffs will actually thrive and be successful in the playoffs. Because, the other thing that Jacoby said that really struck me is that energy of a big game, the energy of the Scotiabank Arena and the crowd, the energy of the playoffs is going to feed him. That he loves that kind of feel, that buzz, that extra stuff that comes with the competition and the NBA playoffs and stuff. He loves that kind of energy. And in the past for Baylor and before that, those kind of games fed him to go higher and above and beyond and go play out of his mind. And I believe him. I believe him because, watching him the last 2 years of his NBA career, I can see how he's built his game. I can see how he plays. I can see how fundamentally sound he is. I can see how he puts in the work. So this is the thing. You got these two guys in their second years, Walter and Shed. And he brought up Jamal too and said the same thing about him, is that both those guys thrive on big energy. They thrive on huge, huge buzz. and just the kind of setting that the NBA playoffs is. That's why Shed did what he did for Houston and his coach Sampson in the years he was in college. That's why Jacoby, he was heralded early when he was young because he had amazing performances in big, huge games in high school into Baylor. I have a feeling about those two that, we may be talking about a new playoff year for Scotty, which he kind of uh, hinted on himself. Watch out for Walter. That's what I'm going to say right now. Watch out for Walter because he is going to do something in this playoff. I feel it. I had a premonition yesterday, and I'm like, I don't know. There's something very powerful about how he was and what he said that made me feel like this dude's no joke. This guy's very serious, and he's not going to squander these moments. He's going to go out there and he's going to be the best Jacoby Walter we've seen so far. And we've seen a pretty darn good Jacoby Walter in the last couple months of the season. Yeah. Watch for that. Seriously, man. Seriously. Yeah. RJ's all fun and loves it. And he can't wait. This is like a dream come true. This is like a dream come true week for great Canadians like Kia Nurse and RJ Barrett, that they can represent their country and their team in the WNBA and in the NBA playoffs. This is a dream come true for young Canadians that grew up in our country and love basketball and wanted these kind of opportunities. Yeah, RJ's relishing this. He's another person we need to take into account for what's going to come up with this. In some ways, RJ's an X factor in this playoff series against the Cavs because in some ways, he's the middleman. He's the guy in between Scotty and Yak, and then the guys in the he's the middleman. And if I was matching up the Raptors with the Cavs, IQ's healthy. He's playing Mitchell. I've already talked about possibly playing Ingram on Harden just for that extra length and that knowledge base of long time playing in the league and dealing with Harden. And I was saying that they put RJ on small forward, and they've been starting Dean Wade there. In some ways, that's a good matchup for RJ so that he doesn't have heavy lifting on defense, but he can have more energy for his offense and doing the things that he can beat them up with as the middle man. Yeah. Scotty, Evan Mobley, sure. And they talked about that a lot in the interview yesterday. Scotty's friendship with Evan Mobley, them being roommates when they were like 14 years old for Team USA and always being cool with each other. He's been cool with Evan the whole time. And, it's a healthy friendship. It's, as Scott made it very clear, we're very serious competitors and we're trying to do whatever we can for our team to beat each other. We may be friends, we may be cool, but we know our job is this. And in some ways, we're going to be going to battle. And yeah, that's a serious thing. And then you got Yak versus Jared, and that's a pretty good matchup there for the center too. So I don't know. I feel like RJ in some ways, if you're really matching him up like I just went over, he's way better than Dean Wade. And the other positions, I mean, sure, people say, yeah, Mitchell's way better than Quick. I don't know, Harden, Ingram, that's a toss-up right there, if you ask me. And then the other three matchups are toss-up too. But it's a very glaring advantage for the Raptors with RJ and whoever he's going to be matched up against. Now, RJ could be on Harden, and then that makes Brandon the very, very, very top-notch player. But there's something there where we have a little bit more talent at all five positions than they do. They have 4+ players in their starting lineup, but one guy who's not, it used to be Karis LeVert. It was DeAndre Hunter for a little while too. But now it's Dean Wade. And Dean Wade is Dean Wade, man. That's what I'll say to that. He's a limited player with certain attributes that are dangerous, but mostly he's not dangerous. So, in some ways you can make the argument that the Raptors have a better overall starting five than the Cavs. I would make that argument. You guys see what I see? We can talk about the benches. We can talk about, they kept bringing it up. There were a couple of assholes in the media room yesterday really wanted to send negative questions at our Raptors and our coach, really kind of putting us down. You're the underdogs, none how are you expect to win this series when your two best players, your two all-stars have never won a playoff series in their careers yet. Brandon Ingram and Scotty Barnes never won a playoff series. These are Debbie Downer kind of questions. Darko's answer was awesome. He said, these guys have been training since they were little kids to win NBA and win playoffs and stuff. And this is, just because they haven't had the opportunities and it hasn't happened yet, well, doesn't mean that it's not going to happen now just because of that. Everybody likes to look at stats. Everybody likes to look at heights and weights, and they want to look at playoff experience. And well, yeah, James Harden is going to beat our whole entire team by himself with playoff experience. But is that the thing that's supposed to indicate how this is going to go? I don't know, because if Walter and Shed thrive on big energy and they're just waiting for a playoff debut to show the level that they can jump to with the intensity fed to them, who knows who's ready or not for this playoff series? We don't know. The Raptors are in some ways an X factor as a team in the whole playoffs because they are an unknown playoff quantity. And it's real easy to just take a dismissive view and say, oh, they don't have any playoff experience. They're going to lose. But that's not always how this works. And that's not always the exact correlation. You know, sure, the other side's got, people on the bench like Dennis Schroeder and Max Struess and Keon Ellis, some people that are, veterans that are kind of dangerous. If I looked at their bench, you got Sam Merrill, Craig Porter Jr., Jalen Tyson, Thomas Bryant. Thomas Bryant has playoff experience in a championship. Naquan Tomlin, Larry Nance Jr., Tyrese Proctor. There's still some young guys in there that are pretty green. Some tough guys that are, play up, Paul out, like what's his name, Jalen Tyson. Naquan Tomlin's been very good for them, a good find from the G League for them. We'll have to see. I mean, I would worry about maybe some of the guys on our bench not being able to step up and play well in the playoffs. But, AJ Lawson does have some playoff experience. He does. Sandro, we'll have to see how he performs. And then, of course, our rookie, Colin Murray-Boyles. What kind of a factor is he going to be in this whole thing? Scotty pointed out that the rebounding battle is going to be a very important battle. And Darko reiterated it, too, in his interview. Who wins the boards, who wins the battle of Mobley and Allen versus Barnes and Pirtle is going to be a very important factor. But what if you throw in Murray-Boyles into that mix too? Does that give us an advantage all of a sudden? Probably. I would say that. Who's their next guy off the bench after those two guys? In some ways, they're so well known for Allen and Mobley that you just take for granted that they really don't have a lot of depth at that position after them. You don't think about it, do you? Because it's like, oh, it's Jared Allen and Evan Mobley. They were both all-stars, and they're both very high level for their position. But who's their guys after that? As far as like their rebounding and defense and bigs. And Thomas Bryant, okay. I mean, that's somewhat adequate, but not really in some ways. I mean, look, who is it? Who is it? And will they be able to be worn down? Mobley and Allen. Maybe it's a smart decision by the Raptors to try and get those guys into foul trouble because they're not so heavy up front. I mean, seriously, we've got Pirtle and Barnes. We've got Mamu and CMB, and we've got Jonathan too. If we really want to go deep into the bench with bigs, and after Mobley and Allen, the Cavs are really not having true big quality bigs. Seriously. I mean, let's say Thomas Bryant, I'll give him that. But after that, I mean, it's mostly all guards and little guys. And, if there's ability for the Raptors to get Mobley or Allen in foul trouble, that could really hinder them for their defense and their rebounding. And that could be a key strategy to try and mess them up. Get one of those two guys in foul trouble. You're not going to get Harden and Mitchell in foul trouble likely. They're superstars. They get superstar calls. They're more likely to be drawn fouls. But if you want to get somebody in foul trouble, get Jared Allen in foul trouble or get Evan Mobley in foul trouble and see just how that works for you, Raptors. That would be a smart strategy if you ask me. Yeah, we're talking Raptors and Cavs, first round matchup. And if you want to talk about it, the phone line is open. So let's go ahead and check in the chat with Trevor J, the commissioner of fun. Let's see what he's saying this morning. His words of wisdom are: the road we have traveled has not always been an easy one, and the path was often full of stones, but we're still here, knowing that the only reason we were able to make this far, the only reason we still are here today, is the fact that God was walking the road with us every step of the way. Yeah, I like stones in the path because you can step on them, walk along on them, right? Right now, I got so much swamp in my yard. I need stones in the path. It's all water out there. It's kind of crazy. Like, I'm wondering why the water isn't going in the ground. I guess the ground is still kind of frozen. So I've got like this weird impromptu lake out there. Yeah, God is with us, and God will help us see the way. God is looking out, and God is protecting. Blessings to the Jones family and all the Raptorfreak families. That's right. Trevor's saying the Tempo have both sisters who shoot the ball. All right, he's brought up that yesterday the Toronto Tempo signed another player to a training camp contract, and it was Dara Mabry. Dara is the sister of Marina. So we've got two of the Mabry sisters in training camp, and it's fun. It's fun. You know, Dara Mabry, Dara was on Notre Dame with Marina before when they were in college. They played together in college, but Dara got hurt and missed some time. She's scouted as a very good 3-point shooter, and she has not broken into the WNBA yet. I mean, in some ways, this smacks of, you know, Teresa Resch and Monica Wright Rogers pleasing Marina Mabry and saying, "Yeah, we'll bring your sister in to training camp on a training camp contract." You know, it's good experience for Dara, but is the realistic chance that she's going to make the team for real? I don't know. I don't know. That's the thing about training camps. People can come in there, and if they impress and they do good enough, well, they can mess around and find out that they are on the team. So we'll just have to see. I would tell you the chances of Dara Mabry making the Tempo are very slim, very, very slim. And this may be just a fun little get ready for the season kind of thing with the Mabry sisters being around in training camp. It'll be nice for Marina, and the possibility is there. And it's also, you know, good to, ingratiate yourself with one of your superstars on your team immediately. Some people will say this is a Thanos, or something like that. But no, Dara Mabry is a very strong women's basketball player, beyond just like, okay, your sister is on our team and we invited you because of that. So I like this opportunity for Dara, and I hope that she can make the team. That'd be fun to have both the Mabrys on the team. But I'm going to say this right now: it's not very likely. The Toronto Tempo have like 23 players at training camp now, or at least they have 23 players on paper. We'll see how many of them actually come over, because some of them are stashes, and they'll be competing for only like 14 spots. So, there's going to be a lot of cuts. There's going to be a lot of cuts in the next 2 weeks before the season starts. But in the preseason, we'll probably see these ladies still playing. Who knows? Maybe Dara will get to play against Connecticut Sun on a Wednesday in a week or so. Yeah, in a couple weeks. Yeah. But yeah, it's cool. It's fun stuff. And a lot of WNBA people and Tempo fans are very, very excited to have the Mabry sisters both in training camp for the Tempo. That's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. There's another Mabry sister, Michaela, that could be involved too, but I don't know what her status is and what she's doing with her professional career. But yeah, they're Mabrys. We got them Mabrys. That's right. Trevor's brought up that Savannah Hamilton has appeared on the new Mike Roach show, and she's talking about the Tempo, and she's very much involved. I haven't watched the episode yet, but I'll probably check it out because I like Mike Roach's show when he has guests and he's not just talking by himself like me. It's much better when he has guests. So I'll have to peep that maybe later and see what he was talking about with Savannah. Let's see what else has Trevor got in his lineup here, his cue cards. No. Ooh, jumping ahead. Good to see so many Raptor freaks in the chat. Steph Curry. Remember, we're full name channel, Trevor here. Don't give me half the name. Curry dropped 35 points with the win over the Clippers, and the Sixers beat the Magic. So he's just giving me the news of the playing games last night that we kind of paid attention to and watched, some of us. Yeah, I'm surprised by the Warriors beating the Clippers. But then again, the Clippers are under a lot of scrutiny right now with the aspiration scandal. And it could very well be that NBA scriptwriters wanted them out so that there's just no more talking about this. And then maybe Adam Silver is able to kind of punish Steve Ballmer and Kawhi Leonard without them being involved in active competition. Because this aspiration scandal came up pretty much when the season had already kind of started, and it was just icky to try and deal with it in the middle of the season. And in some ways, they didn't want to seem like they were going out of pocket to punish the team without any, standing other than Pablo Torre. But I think they're at the point where, yeah, there is a real wrongdoing. There's enough investigation and figuring it out, but they didn't want to interrupt the middle of the season or cause a circus. Maybe they're going to wait till the playoffs are over still. But it's good peace of mind that the Clippers are out and that they don't have to deal with them on TV anymore. Steve Ballmer, you're a failure. You built that new arena. You spent so much money. You wanted all this and you wanted all that. And, well, you get what you get is what I say to Steve Ballmer. I'm shocked because, honestly, the Warriors are not a better team than the Clippers. Steph Curry woke up. He had enough runway of playing the end of the season with his injuries to be warmed up to be able to do this. Well, that's a testament to his legend. That's a testament to who he is. I'm shocked that Draymond Green was effective in the game last night. And in some ways, these guys are the last grasp of like holding on to their dynasty identity in Golden State and having some pride and beating the overpaid, aged, overrated LA Clippers. Yeah, kudos to them. I didn't think they would. I was pretty sure the Clippers would win this game, so I got this one wrong. So I'm shocked. I'm honestly shocked because I thought the Warriors were really bad this year. They have too many young guys, and their old guys are kind of past the pasture. And, Steph being hurt a lot of this season is symbolic of it. And Draymond pretty much being a bench player and not being the same Draymond. I mean, it's kind of like, wow, how did you do this? How did you beat the Clippers? This is insane, So now the Warriors will play the Suns for the chance to play the Thunder. And that game will be tomorrow night. Warriors versus Suns. And hopefully, I'm hoping the Suns just beat the Warriors and put them out. And that's likely, honestly. I'm going to continue to say, yeah, the Warriors are going to be out. And the Suns will get the first round matchup with the Thunder when they beat the Warriors tomorrow. In the other play-in game last night, it was in the East. We had the Magic versus the Sixers. And it was Nick Nurse without Joel Embiid, who's had an appendectomy, just like OG Anunoby. And he's going to miss this playoff, which, is fitting. I was pretty sure Joel would not be available for the playoffs. I didn't realize it would be this way. But yeah, Tyrese Maxey stepping up and going above and beyond and carrying the Sixers to a victory over, honestly, a toothless Magic team. The Magic are a joke. The way that everybody promoted the Magic last year and said all that stuff about them, they should have been saying that about the Raptors instead. I was saying that at that time. I was saying, man, everybody's propping up the Magic and saying this and that, and they're this and that. I'm like, it's all bullshit. They're a messed up team on the down low, and they're not built right. And you know what? A lot of that energy that's, Magic this, Magic that from last offseason should have been going towards the Raptors with Brandon Ingram coming in. If they were really good experts, they could have seen what I saw, which is what the Raptors did, which is a huge 16-plus wins from their season total the year before because Brandon Ingram's a needle pusher like that. I could see it. I said it on my channel. But they were all tooting the Magic's horn. Like they're this and that and all of that. And I'm like, nah, man, these are pretenders. These are imposters. And well, this season we went through it and we got to this point, and now we see exactly where they are right now. They're out. They're out. They're not going to be playing for nothing because they're done for the year as of last night. So the Sixers will play the Boston Celtics in the first round of the playoffs. And this is a great classic matchup. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right, let's see what's going on here. We've got a call on the air. It's the Raptorfreaks Calling Show. Caller, you're on the air.
Shia.
It's 4 quarters with Seymour Pape.
Good?
Yeah. How's the warehouse gym?
Gym is looking clean. It's nice over here. We got more snow today than we've ever had this whole, like, even last winter or whatever.
What?
Woke up to a lot of snow. I stepped out my front door and just sunk right down, like, zoom. Yeah.
That don't make any sense to me. Like, what is it? It's April 16th. It's the 4/16 day. It's the Toronto day, 4/16. How is this happening?
I don't know, man. It's Alberta for you. That's the mountain region. Snow.
All right. Well, Seymour, this has been a while, and I want to see if we remember how to do this. Can we do 4 quarters with Seymour Pape?
Yeah, let's do it. So the first quarter, I'm going. Remember, I asked you in a 1v1, T. Ross or Mo P, right?
Yeah. I love that question, man.
I want to give you my side. I'm going with T. Ross.
Okay.
I think T. Ross would wipe the floor with Mo P. No, I'm not taking nothing from Mo P. Mo P is a good player and all, but you said it right. If T. Ross is hot, that man is sizzle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the athleticism, I think the athleticism part, T. Ross would cook Mo P.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, I mean that's I believe that too in some ways, and that's why I said that. I was like, because like think about the game against the Clippers that Ross, the net was so wide, and it's like he could just throw in the ocean. And if he gets in that kind of heat, it's like he's scoring. He's like he can be basket after basket after basket. And they had that clip come out like recently, the open gym with Terrence Ross talking about it and saying, yeah, DeMar got hurt. He had to go out, and then the basket just opened up for me, and boom, all of a sudden I had 50-something points against the Clippers. So yeah, he can get hot, and that's the one thing. But if this my old counterpoint is if Morris is he's not playing well, Morris is tidying him up, like keeping him closed up, because we know Morris is a pretty good defender. And they're pretty good foil. It's a great question. I don't think that there's a good answer for that on any day. I think that changes from day to day. Who would win that, if you ask me? So, yeah, that's a great question.
I think if Mo P was to take the game, it'd be a close game. Like if they were playing at 15, I think Mo P would win like maybe 15-12 or something, maybe 15-11. But if Ross gets hot, Mo P ain't going over 10. You know, it might be a blowout for T. Ross.
That's cool, man. You know what? Can we do more of these kind of questions in the future as they come to you and you're like, oh, how about this one? We're going to do Jonas versus this person or something like that. That'd be fun because I like these classic Raptor versus matchups, one-on-one style. That's awesome. All right, we want to do number 2.
Maybe I can do it I'll probably try it out on 2K. I want to see what happens in a.
Oh, you can actually test it.
Yeah, I can do it in 2K, but 2K is not really accurate though. Like,
I used to love doing stuff like that. Like I was that nerdy kid with basketball video games that sometimes would never play them, but just simulate everything.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. All right, second quarter.
I'll give you an answer how it plays out. So second quarter, I don't know if you've seen it, but Avery Johnson was talking some smack about the Raptors. He was doing his predictions on every playoff matchup.
Mm-hmm.
And when they got to the Toronto-Cleveland matchup, he pretty much said, this is not even going to be a matchup. He's like, Cleveland's taking this easily. I need to hear your thoughts on that.
First of all, I want to make sure I know who I'm talking about. You're talking about Avery Johnson of the San Antonio Spurs that used to coach them and played for them with David Robinson?
Correct.
Lil General?
Correct.
All right. First of all, I would ask, how much has Avery Johnson actually paid attention to the Raptors? Because I don't think he has. You know, I hate this. I feel like this has been like a big part of this week already, is that just the press and everybody's just not giving us a single chance. Now, they may have been gearing up for this because it was going to look like a New York-Toronto matchup. And in that case, it may have been true. But because we got switched to Cleveland, they didn't get the memo that you can't just say, okay, replace Cleveland for New York and say, oh, the Raptors are just going to get swept out. I don't think they understood that this matchup is way better for us and they're lazy in their job. I think that's what it is, especially if they're not given any details or insight. Like if Avery Johnson say, oh, this is just isn't even going close. It's going to be a sweep for Cleveland. If he's not even given any details or reasoning for it, he's copping out. He's lazy on his job and he didn't even think about this. That's what I would say about it.
That's 100. I need to hear that from you because I totally agree, because in every other playoff matchup, he went in about, I would say, 5 to 10 minutes
and talked about it
on his speech. When it came to ours, it was 40 seconds. Oh, this is an easy win for Cleveland. Yeah, I don't see Toronto. And that was it. Like you said, there was no explanation behind his reasoning or nothing.
Yeah,
you know, so,
that's because he didn't pay attention to this, so he couldn't talk on it with any authority or any kind of knowledge. So he just copped out, is what it sounds like to me. That's disappointing because I like Avery Johnson. I'm a Spurs fan, but you know you should be respecting Jakob Poeltl a little bit better, Avery Johnson. Come on now.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that this is par for the course. We know everybody's doing this week, and I like this in some ways because get overconfident, Cleveland. Get overconfident, media. And then when we do stuff and we surprise y'all, just like we always do, y'all will be talking about, wow, Raptors really surprising me right now. I can't believe they're doing this. Okay, all right. You didn't even think we had a chance. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Do you think politics plays any part in this too? Like just because they're the one Canadian team, the Raptors.
Oh yeah.
And they're just like, yo, we got to get that Canadian team out of here. That cup is staying, the trophy staying on the stateside, America over everything. Like we're seeing now.
Yeah.
Attitude.
Yeah, this is even more like worse right now with who's in charge because his rhetoric is very much leading the country like this. Like it's just blindly obsessed with like we're the best, but actually they're really not. They're messing up all over the place. And there's a very much like this kind of energy right now. I think that was part of why DeJounte punked us. I think that was like there's been like a little bit of extra energy towards the Raptors when we play teams, partly because of this weird energy in the globalness of politics right now. It's the ugly American is really rearing its head right now because Donald Trump is in charge and he's the ugliest American you can think of. Yeah.
Yeah, it's nasty stuff.
It's nasty stuff. And it's like he's a horrible leader. And anyway, we can go on about this all day. But yeah, I think it is worse right now. And I think it is because he sets the tone for that country because he's the mouthpiece and the figurehead. So, yeah.
All right, quarter 3. Do you see like the league is sort of trying to push certain matchups? And the reason why I say that is I see Detroit taking on Charlotte as their matchup. I don't think they'll get past. I don't know if they'll get past Orlando, but I see it's more of a storybook writing for the league because of the viewership that went behind the views that went behind the fight between Detroit and Charlotte. It makes more of a better storyline than Detroit and Orlando, just based on the scrum that we've seen.
Yeah.
Where all those guys getting ejected. Yeah. Do you think the league is sort of trying to force that matchup to happen?
I don't think they'll need to force it. I think it's naturally going to happen. I forgot that the Magic aren't totally out. So they will play the Hornets on Friday. And yeah, I think it's very likely because like I'm shocked that the Hornets didn't win. Wait, they did win that one. They won their one. Yeah. They'll get the chance. And I think they'll beat Orlando and they will play Detroit. And I think it will have something to do with what you're saying because there was that scrum between Musa Diabate and some of the Pistons this year. During. Yeah. So I think that's exactly right. I think you hit the nail on the head. And but I think also they would have won anyway, and that matchup probably would have happened anyway because I think the Magic just suck. They just suck. There's something really wrong with them. So
okay, so let's tap in with that now. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna leave that for fourth quarter. Fourth quarter. So hold on. So, but another thing too. Did you see like one of the last final games of Detroit's season was against Charlotte, and at the end of the game, the coach was going to go over to shake Charlotte's coach's hand. I think his name. I don't know his name. Whatever. And the players was holding back Detroit's coach. Like Detroit's player was holding back the coach, saying, "Nah, don't go over there and shake those guys' hands. We don't like those guys." Which even adds more to a possible first round matchup.
Yeah.
Like, I think they've seen it. They're like, no, we might get these guys in the first round.
Yeah.
So don't be buddy chummy with them right now.
Well, I don't know. It's a chicken or the egg kind of situation. It's like, I think it is because the players are mad at them and they're like, and also they have the foresight to think that may be the first round opponent for sure. Like what you just said. So I don't know. I think that's not classy by the players. I mean, JB Bickerstaff, it's up to him whether he wants to shake Charles Lee's hand or not. And that's kind of messed up. I guess the players are just really competitive, I guess. So I mean, I think that this is the matchup we'll get: Pistons versus Hornets for sure. I think that you're right. I think you're right. The NBA wants it, and it'll probably be guided to it, if not just happen naturally, because that's the way the game should go tomorrow. So yeah, that's good stuff. That's good stuff. All right, we got fourth quarter.
Has been very exciting. Honestly, I'm almost saying scrap the damn regular season, just put every damn team in playing situation, and let's start from there because I'm not saying we should do that. It's just been really exciting to watch the play-in. Like it honestly has me on the edge of my seat because you can see everybody's really trying.
Yeah,
they're really putting in that motion. And that last play with Kawhi, I was in my head when I seen Draymond steal a ball from him. I'm like, dude, Kawhi, like this is not the All-Star game. I understand you went off in the All-Star game. This is not the casual All-Star game. You got to put in some work, man.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's a little bit of Draymond getting some revenge on Kawhi for 2019 there too. Yeah, but yeah, that it is really good format. The one and done play-in tournament. It's one of the things that Adam Silver's innovated in the last few years that has absolutely been working out, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah,
I like it for sure.
Yeah.
Fourth quarter now. So now I'm okay. So you see how you was taking shots at Orlando. You said Orlando's weak. Orlando's soft. You don't know how everybody was hyping them up. Honestly, to begin the season, Orlando looked like they made the move that the team needed because they were a good team. I'm not going to say they were a dominant team, but they were a good team. Their lacking was shooting, and bringing in Bane was a major step on paper. It looked good.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that what happened was, see, you made two predictions. You said Boston is not going to be nothing this year.
And I was wrong. Yeah.
Right? So I think that was the flip. Where was what we expected Orlando to be was good and Boston to be bad. It actually flipped on us. And Boston ended up being successful and Orlando looks like putt. So, you know, it goes like that. I'm actually surprised that Boston was able to play the way they were. And the turnout of Orlando being a playing team, I thought they would have been an automatic playoff team.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
It's just weird. Very weird. Very weird.
I think that the switch in a lot of people's eyes, and from what they were saying last year, it's not with Boston and Orlando, it's with us in Orlando. That I think that everybody thinks that our spot is where Orlando would be, and we would either be where Orlando is or lower. And I think that's the weird switch to everybody. It's like, because they didn't expect us to be top 5. They expected Orlando to be. Now, I don't know what people were predicting with Boston. Like me, they were probably thinking, well, maybe they're playing team. Maybe they're not in the playoffs. But they really did overachieve this year. Really, really did. But I think that the goodness that Boston did and took away from wins, it kind of hurt teams like Miami, Orlando, and maybe even Atlanta on the down low a bit, because they could have been higher up in the standings, but Boston kind of came and took more wins, which they weren't supposed to do in a year without Tatum. So yeah,
that's pretty crazy, man.
You know, speaking about wins, real quick, I want to get your opinion on this. You know, we won 46 games this year. Do you really like? We could have, if we had enough games where they were close or we got screwed by the refs, that we could have gotten 50 this year.
Easily. Half of the season, we didn't even have a 5. We didn't even have a big man.
Yeah. Yeah. And that to me sounds really awesome, that we could have had a 50-win season, you know, if Pirtle maybe hadn't missed so many games, if you know, Mark Davis didn't screw us over in that Charlotte game. You know, there's probably a couple of I could cherry pick a couple of games from this year that we obviously should have won. Like at the beginning of the season, there were a couple of games we choked that, you know, if it was the version of us near the end of the year, we would have absolutely won. So, you know, I like thinking about that. I was thinking about that the other day. Man, 46 is good, but man, I'll bet you there were 4 games that we could have gotten somewhere that we would have been a 50-win game team this year. So I thought that was kind of cool. You want to do overtime?
Sure. And another thing too is Banchero. Last year, a lot of people put Banchero over Barnes. Like the media and stuff like that, they were praising Banchero over Barnes. And I think the addition of Brandon Ingram, whatever he has spilt onto Scotty, knowledge, like just the approach to the game, we've seen it. Scotty's game has improved immensely from last season. I think it's because of the mentality that Brandon has brought to him. Like, look,
yeah,
just come in and just kill. Scotty's mid-range game to me has just been butter.
Yeah.
It's like he's taking a page out of Ingram's game with that shot, So,
this is
it definitely has propelled him over Banchero, because Banchero now, his wingman was already Franz Wagner. But then when they added in Desmond Bane, it sort of messed up their nucleus. I think they still haven't figured out how to play with each other over there.
No, they haven't. You're right. Yeah.
And Toronto, Darko worked magic with Brandon and Scotty, and we're seeing that come together real. Because I'm honestly the only duo. It's gonna be tough to put out there and say, but I think Scotty and Brandon, to me, is another version of a Tatum and Brown, just bigger and stronger.
Interesting. That's not a comparison I would have thought of for sure, but that's an interesting thing to say. It's true. It's true. Go ahead.
Because when you look at those positions, look who our backup guy, because they don't really have another guy coming in to fill in. Like if Tatum goes down or Brown goes down, they have a team system that they roll. They don't have really a punch and go. We do with C and B.
Yeah,
these are punching guy. If Scotty goes out or Brandon goes out, C and B comes in. So
RJ,
I really like what we have,
and RJ too. Yeah.
And RJ, yeah. So we're really good. I think we're gonna beat them, Cleveland.
I think we are too, and I think that everybody's gonna be so shocked after that. But we'll be like, yeah, we knew this was gonna happen before the series, and it'll be standard Raptor Freak kind of stuff. You said it. What you said earlier is absolutely true. Because at the beginning of the year, Scotty let it be known that he is watching Brandon and the way he works with his footwork. And the way he's so efficient and like the way he moves from his dribble. Like we see Brandon do these crazy long arm dribbles where he's like leaning down and he's really moving the ball around. And that's all methodically, like on purpose to get him into his move and his step. And Scotty saw him doing this stuff at the beginning of the year. And he's like, man, I want to cheat off you. I want to take some of this from you. So I think what happened was that over the course of this year, Scotty tightened up his mid-range to be very efficient with motion as far as dribbles, footwork, and just no wasted kind of extracurricular shit that's not necessary. And he tightened all that up. And that's part of the jump that you described at the beginning of this conversation of this part is that, he tightened it up, and that's why it looks so good like this. And he definitely made a leap this year. He made a leap defensively and offensively. They asked him about that. He's like, well, you think you are one of the best defenders in the league? And he said, yeah, I thought I was one of the best defenders in the league last year, but this year I've made a leap again, and I'm blocking people's shots.
Yeah, he's really good, man. He's really good.
Yeah.
A lot of some players, they're just good and they sort of hover around a certain level, but you can see he's still going up. He's still projecting up.
Yeah. Yeah, and a lot of that is the much cleaner, efficient offense, especially in the mid-range. And I also really think that Scotty made a concerted effort to attack the basket more this year out of all the years he played in this league. And you really see it because, like, he used to be afraid or tentative to go inside and try and dunk it with traffic, but he's not anymore. I mean, we literally saw him this season, like, bump Rudy Gobert out of the way and dunk it on his head. It's like that takes a lot of balls and strength to be able to bump Rudy Gobert and then dunk on him. So there's been a lot of good jumps for him on both sides of the ball, for sure. Yeah, I love this. Talking about Scotty. And talking about this series a little bit, Seymour, let me ask you some questions. Who do you think is going to be a big X factor for the Raptors off the bench for this series coming up against Cleveland?
I'm looking forward to seeing what Mamu's going to bring. I would say Jacoby and Mamu. Another thing, actually, who I got to pay attention to is at that point guard position, because if Quickly is not 100, we need Shed to really.
Well, who would you rather start between Shed or Walter if Quickly is not available for game one? Because there's a different thing that you do with this. You keep Shed at the backup point guard. You start Walter. that means Scotty's probably playing more point guard to start the game. Or they don't ever bring this up. Walter plays point guard too, and he could actually be playing point guard, or he could even put the ball in RJ's hands. There's
I like that. I like that. Put Walter in and have Scotty run the ball, which pulls Evan Mobley away from the rim.
Yeah.
Pulls him out. Because Allen down there, Allen's not 100%. He's not 100% on his mobility right now.
Right.
So Jakob has to take advantage of that. Now, if you have Scotty with the ball and pulling Mobley out from the basket,
a shot blocking threat.
Kobe, and guys like Brandon and stuff. So definitely that would be the move. And then have Shed come off the bench like his regular role.
Yeah,
that would work. That would work.
I think it's likely that if IQ is not going to play in the first game, that Walter will get the call to the starting lineup. I think it's very likely. Yeah. Somebody that I want to answer for my question that I just asked you is Grady. I think that there's a really weird storyline that could happen in this playoff where Grady is trash for most of this year, but for some reason, Darko gambles on him, and all of a sudden he pays off huge in the playoffs somehow, some way. If it's not Dick, it could be Battle. And I'm very curious to see, because if we think about earlier this year, and RJ brought it up yesterday in the practice interview, it's like we were in a bad place to be in the year. We were 1-4. We won our first game, and then we lost the next couple. And we were playing the Cavs, and Jamison Battle went off. And he took like a whole bunch of threes and won us the game in the first game against Cleveland and set the tone for that. That may be something that we may want to revisit and try and recapture, is Jamison Battle's amazing performance against the Cavs earlier this season. So
yeah, Darko has that in his mind for sure. Isn't Battle from Ohio too? Isn't he from Ohio?
It's dubious. I think he went to school at Ohio State, but he's actually from Minnesota. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but
give him some run. Give him some run. Let him, because he's probably got some people he knows over there in Ohio, which will step his game up a little bit more. He'll want to show out, right?
He did it in that one game this year, so hopefully maybe he can replicate some of that kind of energy and that just really good 3-point shooting in that one game again. But I love the redemptive arc story of Grady being kind of trash all year, and then all of a sudden he just wows us in the playoffs, and we're like, wow, whoa, this is Grady. Look at this. When it really matters, Grady's back. And look at what he's doing. And it's like Grady hits huge threes for us and helps us win the series against Cleveland. That could change the favor and the opinions of Raptors fans towards Grady really, really fast. And, I love that kind of story. I like seeing people come back from being down and out and succeeding. So I would love to see that happen if Grady gets any chances to play, even though, because it could very well be he's not even going to get any on the court.
Do we have too many because Grady, to me, he needs the ball in his hands. Mm-hmm. Grady is a great player. Like, he can distribute. Like, he's very athletic. He can shoot. He's another jack of all trades. But without the ball, you're not going to get to see what he can really do because he's just running out there.
Yeah.
And the Raptors have a lot of guys that, when they have the ball in their hand, from IQ to Shed to RJ to Scotty to Brandon. When Brandon touched the ball, you might as well just start running back on D, because Brandon, I never even seen Brandon pass the ball to nobody. When he gets the ball, it's like, okay, where's my shot? You know what I'm saying? So for Grady, it's tough because there's so many people that already have the ball in their hand and need the ball in their hand. So he's sort of like the odd man out, running out there.
To me,
he has to find.
To me, I think what he needs to do is go John Paxson.
Work on what? That catch and shoot?
He has to be ready in the corner. And if we collapse the defense by any of those other guys going to the lane, he needs to get that shot to go from the corner from three. And that's all. Just catch and shoot. That's the best thing he can do for us in the playoffs, is either him or Battle or even AJ Lawson are camped out in the corner, and, RJ drives the lane and he just flips the ball over his shoulder and Grady hits a three in the corner. I mean, we didn't do this a whole lot this year, and it was bugging me. It's like, why aren't we passing it out to Battle and Grady more on drives to the paint? Like, why isn't that happening more? Maybe this will happen more in the playoffs all of a sudden, and we'll see some great success from drive and kick. So, because I feel like that can help. Who do you think is a better 3-point shooting group? Sam Merrill, Max Strus, or AJ Lawson, Grady Dick, and Jamison Battle? Like, who do you think between the benches? Because I know Sam Merrill's a dead eye, and Strus is nasty. Strus is nasty.
Yeah, Strus is wet, man. That guy is that string. What do they call it? String music.
Yeah, string music. Yeah.
Yeah, he's wet. Strus is wet. Merrill is to me he's a streaky shooter. When he's on, he's hot.
Yeah.
When he's off, he's off. Like you don't see him. Cleveland has the better shooters.
Yeah,
but
I think it's true.
As a catch and shoot, I'm going with Battle out of everybody.
I think Battle is the best 3-point shooter out of all of them, but it's just that we got to get him unearthed. We got to get him utilized, and we can't bury him. We can't ignore him. You know, it's like, why have that great weapon out there? He's spacing the floor. That's great. That's creating space, but why don't we use him? Why don't we let him actually shoot the ball too?
Did you agree with the punishment they dropped on LaMelo?
Oh, I was going to get to this. Let me read this real quick. Trevor's got it in one of his comments. The NBA is fining LaMelo Ball $35,000 for his trip on BAM and upgrading the action to a flagrant 2, plus fining him $25,000 for cursing in the post-game interview. That's what? That's 50,000? No, 60,000? Yeah.
So what, the flagrant 2, is that a suspension for the next game?
No, I think that what I heard is they're going to make him pay money, but he won't miss the game because in some ways this game is so important. It's a play-in, right? And it could be a one and done, and they don't want anybody saying, "Oh, LaMelo didn't play, that's why we lost," or anything like that. So I think they're just fining the hell out of him, and they'll let him play. Is what they're doing. But I think that normally something like that is like a suspension, but I don't think they're going to do that in this situation. So
common sense is not common anymore. We can't put those two words together anymore. I don't want to hear nobody say common sense because sense is not common. For someone to come on and say the ref, he did the right thing by holding the whistle and not making the call on the LaMelo or going back and reviewing play. I get it. You don't want to stop the actual play because he saved the ball from going out of bounds and the play kept going. Now, when the play does come to a stop, you easily have to go back and look at that play and make the right call. Someone said, "Oh, the ref doesn't want to interfere with the game. That's why he didn't blow the whistle." Whether he blows the whistle or not, he still has the outcome of the game is with the refs, regardless of what he does or doesn't do.
It's no rhyme or reason. Like there's no set protocol. And in some ways, I'm like, why are they reviewing this now? And then they won't review this when this really does seem like a situation that they should probably go look at. There's been a lot of that this season. I don't totally get the reasoning or the common sense behind why refs choose to review or not. It seems like in such a high impact and situation in that game and that play-in the other night that, you know, they would want to go and get the call right. But they didn't like, no, we're not going to go look at this now. We're not going to do that. Maybe that is part of the script writing to maintain like, well, this is going to hurt the Hornets. And we actually want the Hornets to beat the Heat. And we don't want the, you know, we know that if we go look at this, we may have to throw them out or we may have to give extra free throws to the Heat or, you know, stuff like that. So who knows? I mean, I wish they had standards for how they do things that are just like you can expect what the outcome is. But it really is getting the point with challenges and reviews that the referees really can write the script and really write the reasoning for what they do in really interesting, creative ways now.
Yeah, because they're trying to say, "Oh, well, LaMelo's a star, so we didn't want to affect the game to where people would be like, it was the ref's fault why we lost or what we." It doesn't matter because if the Raptors were on the floor and we had done that to Bam, God knows they would have probably suspended 2 of our players just because we're the Raptors.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
It's hard to say that, but I would think that they would probably review it if it's a team that they're not trying to help, for sure. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And Zach Zarba, man, we expect better from you because like you're supposed to be one of the better refs in the league.
Yeah.
You know? So I don't know. But I don't want to take up everybody's time on this, you know.
Dude, this has been fantastic. I love the return of the 4 quarters with Sheriff Seymour Pape. It's been a joy, and I love your insight, and I love your questions, and I appreciate you calling today. I hope the snow melts, man.
Yeah, this ain't gonna, bro. You're gonna hear about a lot of accidents over here. And it's ridiculous. I couldn't even see the color of my car when I came out my house.
Crazy.
That's how much snow we got.
That's wild, man. That's wild. Well, hopefully it's near the end of it for the year, for this season, and you get to your spring as soon as possible. That's what I'm wishing.
Do a turkey fry, deep turkey fry this weekend.
Cool.
The turkey in the oil and shit.
That's one of those things where they take the whole turkeys and drop them in the big vat, and they go, and it could be dangerous because they could explode. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Lex! I'm telling you, that's the best way to eat the turkey. The best way.
I've actually had something from a turkey drop like that before down south in Florida. There were people that did that down there, and I think my old ex-brother-in-law, he did it one time at the house, and I came over and tried it.
Oh, so good.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. All right, Seymour. Only blessed to you, man, and only good things and protection spells and all kinds of good things for you, my guy. Seriously.
For sure.
Yeah, man.
Don't
all right.
man.
Seymour.
Yeah.
I love it, man. The return of the sheriff, the city slicker, coming in and dropping a call on me. I love it. I love it so much. Thank you, Seymour. Thank you so much. I feel so blessed to have your call today. Thank you so much. Trevor's brought up that Aja Wilson, which is the first largest in the WNBA to date, fully guaranteed 3-year contract, $5 million. Yeah. If anybody's going to get paid in this new CBA, she was for sure. And that's setting the standard right there. This is where you kind of see the hierarchy and the pay structure of the WNBA and the new CBA, that Aja's going to get 3-year deal for $5 million. That's pretty good pay right there. We found out yesterday that the Aces made another signing yesterday, and Kareem Thomas should be happy about this. But I'm happy that it's not on our team. But the Aces have gone and got Kennedy Carter back from China League, and she will be playing for the Aces this year. This is setting up some good storylines for the WNBA this year with, the Fever and the Aces, with Caitlin Clark and Kennedy's history. This will make this even more of a kind of an interesting drama grudge match between the Fever and the Aces, two of the top teams in the WNBA. So it's good for ratings. And I would say also, I like what y'all were saying. It's like everybody deserves another chance. And I'm happy to be wrong, to know that, she's not totally blacklisted from the league and that she is coming back this year to play Carter. So that's awesome. That's awesome. And I guess maybe she had to go away for a little while to let everything cool down. Well, we'll have to see if she's still the kind of character that she is with the things that happen. We'll just have to see this year. And hopefully, it's just good for the league and not bad for the league. And it'll be entertaining. In some ways you do need a player like a Draymond Green or a Dennis Rodman around the WNBA too. So yeah, Kennedy Carter signing with the Aces yesterday. It's a big deal. Medved Ted's in the house. Good morning to Medved Ted. We're ready for the Cavs. Question is whether the Cavs will be ready for us. Yeah, they sat most of their team on Sunday against the Wizards. And I'm looking at their depth chart right now, and it still says O's all around them. Will you be ready, Dennis Schroeder? Will you be ready, Keon Ellis? Will you be ready, Jalen Tyson? Yeah, I don't know. Our bench doesn't have a lot of experience in the playoffs. There's definitely more experience on the side of the Cavs. But, man, there are so many different little X factors and different players on the Raptors, whether it's Colin Murray-Boyles, Jacoby Walter, Jamal Shed, AJ Lawson. There's X factors in these guys. And even in RJ Barrett, that people forget about the competitor and the hard-nosed player that RJ Barrett is, and how will he be a factor in this series with the Cavs. I think that RJ could be very, very effective in this series. And, we've got a lot of weapons. We got a lot of problems. Kenny Atkinson is not totally pleased with this matchup. It's funny because the media is so confident for the Cavs. The Cavs fans are so confident for the Cavs. But then the coach of the Cavs, he seems a little worried. He seems a little shaky. He seems a little bit stressed out. So it's kind of funny in that way if you think about it. Are they ready? I don't know. Is Kenny Atkinson ready? That's what we're wondering, right, Medved Ted? Great to have you in the chat again this morning. Fiercey's here. Good morning to MJ. Good morning, fam, and happy Thursday, 2 days before game one. Looking forward to seeing the matchup. Yeah, I'm excited. They've been really, like, as Darko put it, the coaches are turning every corner to check everything and figure out all that they can. But they're keeping it simple in the plan for the players so that they have the right direction and the right things prepared for them to try and do the best that they can. But yeah, Darko doesn't want to give them too much. And in some ways, he wants to keep it light and on the fly so that adjustments can be made quickly. You know, our Raptors are, I've described in the past, an AP class as far as an NBA team. They're all good character, they're all very bright, and they learn fast. You can teach Colin or Jacoby one thing once, and they will get it, and they will take it to heart, and they learn really quickly. They don't take a long time for it to sink in. And that's something that'll come in very handy in a playoff adjustments kind of thing with us game to game and adjustments. As Darko and RJ said yesterday, this is not just one game. This is a series. And in the series, it's a whole different kind of kit and caboodle than a one and done or even a 2-game series against Miami near the end of the season. There's a lot to be figured out. And if you're a team that's deep with knowledge and ideas and adjustments, you will thrive in a series setting because you are the team that can outwit the other team over the course of how things go. And that's the thing. It's going to be a long series. I love what Scotty was saying. He's saying, you know, things can look bad, but they can change real quick in the playoffs. Don't ever get too high or low. You know, that's something that they say all during the season is like, don't get too high on your wins and don't get too low when you lose, because in the playoffs, it's magnified. And when you're down, well, the fans get all crazy and it can be very dark, but you can't look at it that way. You got to look at each game in the set as a new chance to make a new story in game 1, game 2, game 3, game 4, and hopefully, game 5, maybe not, maybe whichever way. We're just going to have to see how this all shakes out. That's right. That's right. Fiercely saying Jurassic Park will be lit. Yeah, there'll be a lot of people there. I don't like it with them controlling it. It was so much cooler when it was just the fans and the MLSC wasn't involved at all. But Keith Pelly, he wants that money. So they can make money off ticket sales inside the arena, sell out the whole arena, and they can sell out Jurassic Park. They're making money. And that's what they want. That's what Pelly and Rogers want. And that's the main thing that they're worried about. That's right. Naco the Nachos here. Good morning, Gerald. Good to see you calling in from the 905. Jacoby or IQ is the X factor. You think Jacoby may be the X factor? Yeah. Yeah. I think that what if this happens, Gerald? What if Jacoby Walter continues his very good hot streak shooting with threes, but it's just a little bit more volume? Like there's more quantity to it. Like maybe Jacoby's taking a few more shots than he normally would during the regular season, partly because they're tying up some of our main scorers and it's finding Jacoby, and Jacoby's the relief valve, and boom, he's hitting these shots. Another aspect of Walter's game that we're putting a lot of emphasis on his 3-point shooting, but he has, a game near the basket where he can kind of pump fake and get around people and drive to the basket and dunk it. Maybe there's a little bit of a mid-range floater kind of shot, something. I don't know. I just want to see him flesh out more of his offense and be more of a factor as far as a contributor. And, will he be good for big time shots and pressure situations when we really need it? Maybe. That's what I'm hoping. All right. I'm just talking to the man. We're going to have him on the air right here. Hello, Naco the Nacho. Good morning to you, sir. How are you today?
I'm doing pretty good. I did some errands in Toronto. Now I'm just wandering around the GO station. But yeah, in terms of Jacoby, I actually want to focus a little different. There's a bunch of stuff I wrote in the chat, so I'm not going to focus on that too much. Okay. I'm sure you'll get to it.
Sure.
I think when it comes to bench players that I'm expecting, like the absolute most part, I'm expecting more from Colin than I'm expecting from Jacoby. I think if Jacoby does ramp up the shot making, then that would be great. Yeah, and he'd probably be more effective. I mentioned switchable defense with us, I think, as being a particular bright spot. And I think Colin, he's a very, very good bench defender.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very, very good bench defender. Having like almost starter quality is starter quality defender.
Sure.
Yeah. So when it comes to like people off the bench that I just kind of like, I don't even know if I would call them an X factor, because I just like expect like such a good performance. Colin, I think, is like going to be our best player. I expect good things from Jacoby. I really do. I don't know if like if he were to like I'm not so confident that like he's just going to like up the shots to like the nth degree. I'm confident he's going to do good. I'm confident he's going to do real good.
He'll be solid.
I'm confident that as long as like IQ's injuries aren't going to be too much of a hindrance, that he'll be good. I'm just not confident that his injuries won't be a hindrance, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll start with Colin, the part that you said about him. I think that you're right. I think that it's easy to point to the player off the bench that may have the best impact for the Raptors is Murray-Boyles. And I think that it's partly because this battle is really going to be some of it is going to be really centered around the front court and the ability to control the boards, control rim protection and paint defense. And and you alluded to this, and you talk about the switchability of Colin on defense is a different look than Yak. And that's why in some ways, when Allen's out there, it may be good to have Yak handcuffed to him as far as their minutes. But when that's not the case, you could have Murray-Boyles out there with Scotty and Yak too at different times. But Colin's going to be an impact player. We know it because he's just that kind of player. When he plays and he's not in foul trouble, that's one area where he could be in trouble though. And they showed signs of doing this to him at the end of the regular season. Is Colin found foul trouble in one of the last few games of the regular season. And that could be a way that, they take him out of the game for the Raptors in an underhanded way, is like they've all of a sudden start calling fouls on him in weird ways all of a sudden. But because of his strength, because of his speed, because of the combination of what he is, I agree with you. I think that he has the potential to be the most important player off the bench for the Raptors in the series. And it really is going to be like helping the other big guys on our team muscle around with Evan and Jared, for sure. And it's interesting what you're saying about IQ. I think that it's the kind of thing where with Emmanuel, we need to either, if he's not 100% or not 100%, but pretty good to play where he won't be a detriment to our team, he should play. But if he's hurt and he's not going to be like this, we've learned from this in the past with the Raptors in the playoffs. If we're going to play hurt people, it'll really hurt us. So in some ways, it may be smart if he's not totally the right percentage of ready to not even play him and give him a rest game. Because if you play him out there and he's kind of half hurt, he could really hurt us, especially in the matchups with the backcourt of the Cavs, because those guys are no joke. But it's really dependent on how well IQ's moving and how much pain he's feeling from his various injuries with his feet and his leg. So, yeah, I mean, great points, man. I guess you're kind of answering the question that I gave to Seymour on his call. Who do you think are the X factors off the bench? So, yeah, Gerald, what is your prediction for the series? I'd love to hear what you think is going to be the outcome for the Cavs Raptors 7-game series in the first round.
Because of our switchability, James Harden's ability to choke, injury issues withstanding, Raptors in 6.
Raptors in 6. So you're one of the people that says we're going to win this on our home court in 6 games. I like that.
Yeah.
My official prediction for myself is Raptors in 7. But, I would love yours because that means the home court is where we win it and everybody gets to celebrate here. So that's nice. Yeah. So, sure. So Gerald, you're coming back from the city. You've had an early start today and you're waiting at the GO train station. Any cool new music selections or recommendations that have come out recently? This is something I like to ask Gerald sometimes because he's a music head. He knows a lot about music. Anything you're listening
Sure.
to that you're bumping right now that you really would like to recommend to the Raptor Freak family?
Sure. My favorite album of the year is by Mandy, Indiana. I don't think it would be like the Raptors Freaks' cup of tea. It's a very Death Grips sounding album. It's by a English band. The vocalist speaks in French. It's like electronic, industrial rock music.
Cool.
With a lot of screaming. But yeah, that's my favorite album.
A lot of fuzzy static, a little bit of noisy kind of stuff. Cool.
Yeah, lyrics about the apocalypse, lyrics about society and like bad people within society and whatnot.
Interesting.
And
interesting. That's cool. Right on, man. All right, cool. So what's going on for the rest of the day, Jerry?
The rest of the day, I am enjoying my last Thursday off for the next foreseeable future. My shift changes, so now I'm on Sundays and Mondays off. Still work nights, so it's still watching the Raptors games as I work. But yeah, pretty much just hanging out with a friend today.
Right on.
Watching movies and whatnot.
Are you excited for the Toronto Tempo? Have you been keeping up with that stuff? I guess kind of through the channel, but also just in general.
I've kept my ear to the ground. Foot in the world is probably more appropriate than.
Did you see the new court?
No, I didn't. Yes, I saw the new court.
What do you think of it?
News. I like it.
Yeah.
The last news I heard was Kia Nurse signed.
Yeah. That's awesome. I think that's so cool too. All right, Jerry, anything you want to add real quick before I let you go on the phone this morning? I'm really, really appreciate you calling today.
Yeah, for sure. Go Hornets.
All right.
Go Suns.
Okay.
And here's hoping the Hornets upset the Celtics. Go Raptors.
All right. I like that. You want the Hornets to beat the Celtics. That's a tall order.
Yeah.
We'll have to see. Either way, man, let's go Raptors and let's go Tempo.
Go Raptors, go Tempos. Take it easy, Lex.
All right, Gerald, get home safe. That's Naco the Nacho to you. Awesome. The second call of the day from Gerald. I love it. Raptors in 6 is what he's saying there. I love it. Reggie's here. Good morning, Reggie. I remember RJ in 2019 was on ESPN with Kellerman and Smith rooting for the Raptors during the finals. That's awesome. Yeah. It's got to be so cool to him. I mean, like I said, this is a childhood dream. He's going to get to play playoff games for the Toronto Raptors. And that is something he probably thought about, long time ago when DeMar and Kyle were on our team. You know what I'm saying? That's pretty cool, man. For me, anything that happens now is gravy. There you go. That's right. This is something. We'll go do the Raptors Redditor of the day real quick. And I like this. I like the positivity. Yesterday, we had a Raptors Redditor of the day that said, look, we're playing with house money. We've had a successful season. We've gone above and beyond, where expectations were for us. And in some ways, whatever happens, this is a good experience for our young team in the playoffs and the postseason. So whatever happens, if we have success, that's great. That's what RJ said. That's the way he's looking at it in the interview yesterday. He said to come in the postseason is one thing, but to be in the postseason and have a good experience is another. And that's what RJ is the way he's thinking about it. He's like, I want to have a good experience in the postseason. And that means success, and that means winning. So our Raptors Redditor of the day is Obi-Wan Stan. I really believe in the Raptors this postseason. Opinion. I'm seeing so many people say we're going to get eliminated in the first round. I know as a Raptors fan, I'm biased, but I genuinely believe this team can make it to the second round. Cleveland is 0-3 on us for the season, and James Harden isn't necessarily known for his playoff heroics. Raps in 6. The lights were brighter than we expected. Quote by Jared Allen. I love this. This is a real kind of fan because they are given the possibility for success in their minds. If there's Raptors fans out there, they're just saying, no, we're going to lose. You're an idiot and all this stuff. Well, who are you? Why are you even a fan? If you won't try and believe in them. It's like my friend Seymour, who just called me a little while ago, says, you're saying we have a chance? Yeah, we have a chance because we are one of two teams in a series, and one of those two teams will win. And I'm sick of Raptors fans being so negative and so classes half empty and so pessimistic and so down on our team. That's not what a fan does. A fan believes in their team, roots for their team, cheers for their team, encourages their team, and doesn't add to that noise of Eeyore saying, oh, well, yeah, it's great that we had a good season, but we're going to lose now and stuff like that. That's not the right energy, Raptors Nation. So be like Obi-Wan Stan and believe in the Raptors in the postseason. Thank you, Obi-Wan Stan, our Raptors Redditor of the day. That's right. I'm sick of it. It's one thing you guys are conditioned by this media like Avery Johnson just saying, oh, this is not going to be this or this. You're just going to get all your expert opinions from those people on TV. Those people aren't experts on the Raptors. No, they're not. Not like I am. I've been watching them very closely on everything. You know, did you all see that clip the other day of Mamu getting yelled at by Darko for not getting two hands on the ball for rebounds? I love that clip. That was awesome. That was so good. That's so good. We're watching. We're watching here. They're not. Avery Johnson's not watching. He's not watching. That's right. James is here. Good morning, Raptor Freak James. Jacoby should start if Quickly is still not 100%. He can do a better job of defending Mitchell. I love what Jacoby said yesterday. He said one of the things he does when he comes off the bench is he decides he figures out what is the most important thing for him to do to try to help the Raptors at that time. And most often it's him cutting the water off on whoever's going good for the other team. He's analyzing who has gotten going and is on fire, and he's coming out there with the intention to turn them off. And I love that. In some ways, this is a factor that we may need from him for sure. You know, we've got plus defenders in a couple different places. Scotty, Colin, Jacoby, Jakob. These are all really good defenders for their kind of skills and what they offer in their positions. And Jacoby Walter is definitely going to be somebody that is going to be a factor, hopefully, in tying up Donovan Mitchell and James Harden, both of them. So we'll just have to see how they switch people around and stuff like that. I'm with James on this. You know, Walter is going to be a guy who's going to have those tasks, and he's up for it. He watched James Harden play for the Rockets when he was a kid, and he looks up to him. And in some ways, he's not getting starstruck, though. He's kind of like, you know what? You're just my assignment, and I have to shut you down. That's how he's going to be handling it right there. Yeah. Medved Ted saying, Jacoby and Colin are both serious and hard workers. Raptors' future will be bright with those young players. Yeah. And this taste, we'll get to see it. Maybe they'll take the playoffs like a duck to water. And all of a sudden, like I said, this X factor of big-time players from their college days, like Shed and Walter, this is just the stage that they are meant to be on. And that they just kind of flourish because they are those kind of players, those kind of winners, those kind of big game energy kind of guys. That Jacoby made it very clear yesterday. When that energy is around, he feeds off of it. And it's kind of like Electro in Spider-Man. He's taking all that energy and he's just getting bigger and stronger from it. And I hope that's the effect that happens with Walter in this playoff series. Hopefully the bright lights aren't too bright to scare him and get him all worried or in a weird place. And instead, he just thrives in it because he feels the energy, he feels the pressure, he feels it all, and he just thrives in it. Because that's what he's saying he does when he gets that energy around him. Randolph's here. Good morning, Randolph Phillips. Morning blessings, beloved Raptor Freaks family. You must be willing to put down roots if we want to grow. For even a tree must grow in two directions at the same time. Be willing to grow. That's interesting. I like that. Yeah, I know some people that are very nomadic, and in some ways that works for them. But it is also interesting, you know, when you kind of stop and you kind of just take time and you stay someplace, how things kind of catch up with you in reflection. And that's important sometimes. Some people are just always on the run from something in their life, and they can't stop. Like the Incredible Hulk on that TV show with Bill Bixby, just always on the run, and they can't stop. I don't know. In some ways, at some point, you're going to have to stop and face stuff. If you keep running like that, it'll catch up at some point. Blessings to Phillips family and all the Raptor Freak families. That's right. Jacoby, fire. Kareem Thomas is saying this. Colin Murray-Boyles and Sandro Mamu are going to be the team's X factors. So you including Mamu in this as far as X factors. I do like our backup bigs better than theirs. I really do. I mean, there's Tomlin and Bryant. You know, who are their backup bigs? Who is their backup center? Really? Is it Thomas Bryant? You know, in some ways, Mamu and Colin could really be huge for us because they're a little bit more quality than the backup bigs for the Cavs. This is a department we actually have on them. I think that, yeah, Seymour's saying this, that Allen's hurt. So Yak should outplay him. I mean, we could say Yak's a little hurt too. I mean, I'll be honest, Jakob's not moving as well in the last couple weeks. And I think that his back is kind of back and forth. So hopefully this week he's getting supreme treatment and he's doing really well and he'll feel really fresh on Saturday at 1 p.m. And both of them are a little banged up. Well, I mean, that's pretty common at this point at the end of the season that NBA players are going to be a little bit not 100%. So we'll just have to see. Reggie's saying Mitchell has the advantage over Quickly. IQ is injured. It's really on BI to be the man. Well, we have a couple of people. I mean, I'd like BI to be the man. I'd like BI to be Kawhi for us. Kawhi in 2019, not Kawhi right now. To Kawhi in 2019. I'd love BI to be that role this year in the playoffs. And that's the speculation. It's like, look, I've talked about Jacoby raising his game in the big energy of the playoffs. You know, what has Brandon been doing? He's 10 years. And in some ways, this is the best situation in some ways. I don't know about his playoff runs with the Pelicans and how they went and why they were failures. But in some ways, Brandon may be in the best position he's been in his whole NBA career to have success in the postseason right now because of the team he's around. And, there's other options. Brandon could be important and he could be the number one guy and the weapon and be the dude. But if he isn't, RJ could be that guy or Scotty. Scotty could recognize that he has a really good offensive mismatch in some ways, and he just goes to town and he's scoring for 30 points or something. It's good to have options. And, the Cavs have options too between Harden, Mobley, and Mitchell. But in some ways, we have a couple more options in different ways than them. And, we could start adding in X factor possibilities from Jacoby and Colin Murray-Boyles along with our big three. Yeah. And a healthy Quick too. If we have a healthy Quick, that's the thing right there. Yeah. Fiercely saying this. I know she's not on the tempo, but I'm hyping up Cassandra Prosper, the first Montrealer drafted in the WNBA, Washington Mystics. Her brother is also in the NBA. It's Omax. That's cool. Yeah, I knew that there were 2 Canadian women that were selected in the WNBA draft this past week on Monday, but I didn't really look into it too much. I'm glad you circled back and brought this up because we do like to celebrate Canadians in basketball in the WNBA and the NBA. So, yeah, Cassandra Prosper, welcome to the WNBA. And that's awesome. I just like that we have more coming into that league too, because we only really had 4 Canadian WNBA players last year. And, 2 more added. We'll see if they make rosters and they hang around. But, yeah, there should be more Canadian women in the WNBA, especially now that the tempo exists, especially now that they exist. That's right. Nako's saying this. After Halliburton won his first playoff series, he proceeded to get to the East Finals twice. Yeah, that's a good example. Yeah, Siakam released something this week talking about fragile. The whole post was about fragile, fragile. And he's talked about the highs and lows of being the NBA, talking about being in the finals last year and getting to 7 games with the Thunder and just missing that championship. And then going through this season afterwards without Tyrese Halliburton and just how difficult this year was with all the losing and stuff like that. But he's smart. He's a vet. He's been through this with us down now, and he knows what to expect with the Pacers. And in some ways, it's easier for him to handle a 19-win season like they just went through. Yeah, it's a weird clip. In some ways, I feel bad for Pascal, but you know what? He's such a vet, and he's got such a perspective that he can put it all in the right place and kind of like, deal with it the right way. And in some ways, he's good to do that for the young Pacer teammates around him. So, yeah, Smooth saying this. I mean, we saw Golden State beat Dallas years back. Dallas was the overwhelming favorite. Yeah, I guess that's something that I should give more credit to the postseason success of Steph Curry and Draymond Green. And even if Clay's not there or any of the other guys that were around them at that time, it's just kind of them with a bunch of young guys. You never count out Steph Curry. I think that if it's a better team than the Clippers, yeah, they beat the Warriors for sure. Because I mean, we beat the Warriors both games we played them this year. They were not a good team this year. They were not. And well, when it matters, Steph steps up and they get some of that old luster from their dynasty days. Yeah, they get that luster. Kespra's here. Good to see the fact checker, Kespra. Max Strus is the guy the Raptors need to be careful of. Maybe Keon Ellis, too. I bet Schroeder might spill some secrets on Darko. Yeah, yeah. I mean, and they also got the other thing that's something we should talk about, but he's not going to be in the playoffs is Olivier Sarr. Sarr was involved in our program all year on 905, and he learned a lot of our systems while he was playing for Coach Drew Jones in Mississauga. And well, they took him as a two-way from our team, and he's been with the Cavs for a couple months now. And he has a lot of insight into what we did this year. Schroeder may not be as helpful as Sarr because as RJ and Darko made it very clear, because they're trying to make this is dumb. The reporters were kind of dumb yesterday. Some of them were very pessimistic, and then some of them were just kind of like, that's dumb. Why would you say that? They're trying to say because RJ played the Cavs on the Knicks in the playoffs that he should know this matchup well. And Darko and RJ both said, well, this is not then. This is a totally different time. And Darko even flamed the reporter by saying, I should know about this matchup because we were in Oklahoma City and we played the Cavs with LeBron James in like 2011 or something like that. And it's like hilarious, Darko, when he kind of makes the reporters look stupid for asking dumb questions. Yeah, in some ways, this is, as RJ put it, we haven't even played this team with Harden. So this is a totally different team than when we played them earlier this season and swept them. So it's like to be able to say, oh, RJ knows how to play the Cavs because he played them with the Knicks in the past. That's stupid. You can't do that. And Darko's smart enough to say, yeah, this has nothing to do with this. RJ's not on the Knicks anymore. He's on the Raptors. It's like, yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting. We're going to have to see how it is. I agree with Kespra. I think Max Strus is a huge, huge person that we need to be keying on and making sure that this guy does not do, and Keon too. Keon's an interesting bench player, instant offense kind of guy, and they may want to contain him. I don't think Schroeder and what he learned from being on the Raptors for half a year in the first half year of Darko coaching, in some ways he could tell him personality traits and tendencies of who he is, but I don't know if he'd be up to snuff with exactly how we're doing things exactly intricately at this point compared to when he was on the Raptors. So, but I would say Sarr could be more dangerous for this because he was involved in the team this year and he does have privy knowledge to some of the things that we were teaching at 905 this season. So let's see. KT saying this. The only thing I fear is Harden slowing the game down and creating mismatches because Allen and Mobley, hang on, it jumped ahead. I want to make sure I don't miss any of the comments. Hang on. Where is that comment there? And because Allen and Mobley are good rollers. Pace of the game is something we should talk about. I think that it does favor the Raptors the more sped up the game is because we love that fast break. And a big key to this series is if we can generate turnovers. This is always a key to the success of the Raptors this year. Are we able to get in there and get the ball loose from them? Now, this is where we may have run into the problem with the refs. The refs, they can control whether we can be all out on our defense or not. If they allow us to play playoff style physicality and defense, we could very much kick the Cavs' ass. But if they're touchy and they want to call whistles and they want to limit our ability to play defense with physical aggressiveness, that could be a factor. And in some ways, that may be out of our hands. Darko would say, we have to adjust the whistle and just how that they're calling it at that time to be able to do this. But if they allow us to play full on real basketball in the playoffs in the NBA with physicality and, kind of the way that the Knicks play, we could be very successful, but it's about whether they allow us to or not. They may not allow us to, and we may have to play really like within the confines of the refs and what they're allowing us to do. So I think that that's a way that we could absolutely dominate the Cavs like we did this season if we can be because that's what they're saying. Darko said this, Jacoby said this too, is that we've been playing all out hectic defense at times this season, and that's our identity. And in some ways, if we can get our identity where like we're hounding Harden, Mitchell, and other Cavs to cough up the ball because it's just we got coming with double teams and traps and just really getting on them like Shed and Walter and Scotty and different people will do, that could be a huge, huge way that the Raptors gain an advantage and win in this series. Is we have to be allowed to trap. We have to be allowed to get the hand in the cookie jar, and the refs cannot be calling every whistle and putting us in foul trouble. That's a factor right there. And they're going to try and put people in foul trouble. And we'll watch it and we'll call it all out as the series happens. Smooth saying this, I'm hoping the Suns beat the Warriors. Me too. Curry turned back the clock last night. Well, in some ways, he's got to do what he's got to do. He's a big-time player, and he had a big-time game last night. And he had to do what he had to do. Those young Warriors need to follow his lead because they don't know exactly what they're doing. All those youngsters like Pods and Post and the other guys that they still have. Let's see. Blackhawks here. Good to see Blackhawk. Nako saying go Suns, go Spurs, go Wolves, and go Rockets. Yeah, it's a really interesting matchup with the Rockets and the Lakers now. That's the 4-5 on the other side. And the Lakers technically have home court advantage, but they're the underdogs because of the injuries to Luka and Austin Reeves. So this is very, very interesting. We'll have to see. I hope the Rockets do put out the Lakers in the first round. I really, really do. No offense to Nally, but I do. I hope that they do. But who knows? Fred's not coming back. He's not going to be able to help the Rockets get super far in the playoffs, but they should win the first round against the Lakers. That should be fun. Nako's saying Magic were soft last night. Go Hornets. Yeah, the Magic are not. I mean, I think their coach is a lame duck. And I think that in some ways, the Magic have to go do some soul searching this summer. They just do. G's saying this, I'm not a Green fan, but his defense was key. Even Kawhi said he didn't allow him easy shots. This shows how valuable defense is in the playoffs and something I think the Raptors have an edge in versus the Cavs. I hope this is true. I hope that G's right. I really do think that people like Colin and Shed and Pirtle could have really big impacts in what happens in this series for sure. For sure. I would like Pirtle to do really well against the Caps, and he has in the past, so that people will shut up. And there would be certain ways that Jakob Pirtle can go above and beyond and be successful in this playoff series with Cleveland, and it would go a real long way with propaganda in his favor. Because I'm just sick of hearing all the noise about Yak this and Yak that. And, Raptors fans, y'all need to respect and love Yak more than you do. And stop listening to people tell you this. One of the problems with the league is so many people want to be money managers and GMs. And they're analyzing the salary cap. And they're thinking about who's worth what and not. You guys aren't accountants and financial people, unless you are. But in some ways, it's like, why the fuck are you doing this? Like, is this the fun part of the NBA for you? Like, are you a money nerd or something like that? Oh, I only care about their salaries and the salary cap and how much people get made and whether Bobby's good for what these contracts are and criticizing him. No, I watch for basketball. I watch for dribbling, shooting, rebounds, steals. I'm not worried about the salary cap. Some people are so fucking worried about the salary cap. It's annoying. I might start calling these the God money fans because all they give a shit is about the money aspect of the league and contracts and who they're getting paid. I'm separating myself from you turkeys that overanalyze the contracts and are so critical of IQ and Jakob. These guys are getting paid what they're getting paid. And I don't give a shit about what they get paid. We can be fine and compete even if some people are considered overpaid. Either way, I'm sick of you accounting motherfuckers and your bullshit. Go and crunch your numbers at work. Go do your taxes 3 times if you want to. You don't need to fucking go figure out all the money situation for the Raptors. When I was a kid, I never even thought about the money situation with salaries or salary cap or anything like that. I just watched basketball and I enjoyed the sport. But there's a whole aspect of fans that are more concerned with being money analysts, and they look at all this. I don't even think these jackasses even watch basketball or play basketball or understand basketball. They just like money and balancing things and being critical of the salary cap and what they think of it. These aren't real fans of basketball. These are critical people that maybe should go get jobs as certified accountants or some shit like that. Seriously. Whoever nerds out on trading and cap and all this stuff, you guys are not true basketball fans. You can say, no, but we're helping the team to build the team better. No, you're not, because you have no power in this. You're just somebody talking to a wall and nobody's listening to you. It's like you're not going to influence Bobby to make decisions in the future. And if you're going back and just criticizing decisions he's already made, well, who the fuck needs you is what I'm saying. So the team is what the team is. And everybody trying to figure out our salary cap for next year and trying to say, well, this is what we're going to do with this person. We're going to do with this. Just shut the fuck up and watch basketball. 48 minutes, 12-minute quarters, 4 of them. That's what you're supposed to do as fans. You're not supposed to be a capologist. You can let Blake Murphy be the capologist, and he can handle that as a journalist presenting it to us. But everybody out there that's money crunching and going over whether salary and this and this and that, just give it up, you nerds, and just be a fan of basketball. And if you're into the Raptors because of that aspect, you're in it for the wrong reason. And everybody who's like always criticizing and saying this about this contract with Yak, this contract with IQ, shut the fuck up. Nobody gives a shit about what you think. Seriously, nobody gives a shit if you think they're overpriced. Who cares? They play on our teams. Root for them. Seriously, I'm just sick of this noise. And fans that center towards more of that aspect of things and caring about that, you're not really basketball fans. You might as well go fucking follow CPAs and their lives and be fans of number crunching and all that bullshit. You might as well go get on NBA 2K and just trade people around and do salary cap balancing on there if you really love that whole aspect of the NBA. I'm here for points on the court. I'm here for rebounds. I'm here for the game and what happens in between the lines. I'm not here to criticize the GM and his salary cap and all this kind of bullshit. It's stupid. It's such a waste of time too. Like, these people complain about this so much, and it's like you don't have any bearing on what happens. It's not like Bobby's going to change how he does business just because y'all say this. And once again, I'll say Bobby lives on the moon. Y'all don't understand his job completely. And what you think is possible may not be possible in any kind of way. And what you think is an overpay may actually not be an overpay if you really understand the inner workings of the NBA and how things are going. Once again, I'll say this. Just like Temi got a high contract from the Tempo this week, bigs are premium. And if you're looking at Yak's contract and you think that he's overpaid, well, even when his price balloons in a couple years from now, the money in the league is ballooning at that time too. So it's like, get over yourselves, money crunchers. Go take an accountancy class and get a new career, you motherfuckers. This is a little bit of an early Friday freak out there because I'm just sick of these people. They're so annoying, man. They're so annoying. Smooth saying this. There's talk that the Orlando players want their coach fired, so they might lay down against the Hornets. Yeah, I could see that. There was a little bit of half of that energy with Nick Nurse in his last game with us against Chicago. Half of it may have been DR screaming, but also the Raptors kind of like, let's throw this game because this is just weird. And in some ways, I don't want to go any further with this. And yeah, Masai will fire Nick Nurse. Yeah, there was a little bit of that energy in that game against DeMar and the Bulls that day with DR screaming at the free throws. Yeah, let's see. Naka's saying Clippers getting rid of Norm was a crime. They were so insulting towards him too. So many Clippers fans were saying, look at all these great players we got instead of Norman. And yeah, and then Norman went and got all-star and kicked major ass for Miami. And he also came back and beat the Clippers' ass both games when they played the Miami Heat this year. So he got his revenge. Yeah, Clippers Nation was not classy towards Norman Powell on his exit. And they made all kinds of dumb comments about saving money and getting him off their books to get extra players in this. Yeah, look where you are at now. You're just like Miami. You're both out. That's right. Smooth saying the game is in Orlando, so maybe they will play with pride. I don't know. Either way, we just saw them. I went to the Orlando game in person at the end of the season, and we beat them by 52. So that's the Orlando I see in my head. Is that sorry ass team that we kicked the shit out of near the end of the season. And one of the games that ESPN had hyped up as being one of the very important playoff run games at the end of the season. Yeah, I went down there and I helped them, and they beat them by 52 card pickup. That's right. So forgive me if I have no respect for Orlando Magic right now, because I saw with my own two eyes the Raptors smack them around bad in that game on that Sunday. That's right. That's right. Let's see. Fiercely saying this. Banchero got exposed yesterday. Not a Magic fan, but Desmond Bain more efficient and hungry this season. Banchero has weird shot selections. Ball hog, chucks, his threes. List goes on. Interesting offseason ahead. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Either way, I don't care. Magic, you can just be a mess, and I have no solutions for you. You go ahead and just be a mess. That's right. Fiercely like the call from Seymour. It was nice to hear from him. You want to call me MJ? You can call me too. G saying OKC will now receive a lottery pick due to the Clippers' loss, and Chris Paul putting up a funeral meme after the loss shows us some bad blood. I love that. I love that. Good job, Chris Paul. They did you dirty this year, and well, the Clippers got what they deserved. And honestly, there's so many different kind of forces that were working against Ballmer and the Clippers this year. Aspiration, Chris Paul, yeah, Kawhi just in general being Kawhi. Yeah, you get what you get. That's what you get. Intuit Dome, all that stuff. Yeah, you get what you get, Steve Ballmer. And I love Chris Paul posting that after they got beat last night. I love that. I love that so much. And good for Oklahoma City. The SGA trade continues to just be awesome. Kesper is saying U.S. media business direction, telling the only non-Canadian team they're screwed. Manipulation at its finest. Yeah, some of it is just bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. Scotty and them don't see them as like, oh, they're in trouble and they're going to just flame out. No, they actually, in their minds, think that they're going to beat them and win this series. And they could. I think they will. It's like that's why we have this circle of trust that Darko set up, is because the outside noise could get in their heads in stupid ways. And that's why it was so interesting to hear Scott react to that reporter when they said, you guys are the underdogs. He's like, I didn't even perceive us as the underdogs. I mean, we beat them this year. What do you mean we're the underdogs? I feel like we have a really good chance to win, and we will probably win, is kind of the attitude Scott had. So it's kind of interesting, and it really does kind of show how media conditions the masses, and they'll tell you what to think. And that's why I'm like, fuck all that shit. Just because Avery Johnson thinks that this is going to be a blowout for the Cavs, it doesn't mean he's right. And, all the predictions that they made for the Raptors in a long, long, long time, pretty much the whole era of Masai Ujiri, they've always been wrong. Whether they've miscalculated us for wins for the season, miscalculated us for being a playoff team this year, miscalculated us in all kinds of different ways in the 2019 championship run. Yeah, they're going to miscalculate us. They're going to have proclivities and prejudices and directives from U.S. media corporations on the narrative that they want to establish. Yeah, Scotty didn't hear the narrative. He's not with you on this. He's like, we're the underdogs? What are you talking about? I'm not an underdog. No, Polly Pureheart. No. No. You think I'm an underdog? Oh, no. No, Scotty don't see it that way. Reggie's saying, wow, Oklahoma City getting yet another lottery pick. Clippers praying Pacers pick lands 5 through 9. Yeah, that's interesting stuff. Kesper's saying bad boy Pistons versus bad boy Hornets. Yeah, that could be fun. A grudge match. A literal grudge match. And the thing is, if we do beat the Cavs, we'll play the winner of that series, and that means we could have real legs to try and get to the Eastern Conference Finals. But we have to have it one game at a time. And we're going to have to go through it all, the rides, the ups and the downs. We know what this is like, Raptors Nation. We've done it before. In some ways, we got to be bracing ourselves and ready for it. And I want to warn Raptors Nation and nephews to not overreact. Whatever happens, we lose the first game, we win the first game. Don't overreact either way. Don't overreact. We win, and you're like, we're going to win the championship. Oh, we're so good. And if we lose, don't just fall out and crash out and think we're going to get swept out either. Let's have some maturity, and let's have a sense of perspective and knowledge that we understand it's a long series and it can go up and down. And just like the lessons we had in 2019, when we got behind in quite a few of the series that we were involved in, we still saw it through and still found success in Larry O'Brien at the end of the path. I'm not saying we're going to get to Larry O'Brien, but I want Raptors Nation to do better. We've been here before. We've been through this kind of stuff in the past, and we should know how to react and deal with this much more maturely than some of the stuff we do sometimes with reacting to losses and wins in the regular season. Well, in the postseason, it's all amplified. It's all amplified. That's right. That's right. Let's see. Nako saying Chris Paul is right to kind of dance on their graves. Yeah, he's totally right for it. And you do it. They totally did you wrong. And that wasn't right how they did you. And you're retired now. And you know, you're not going to get a farewell or anything like that. You should have came to Toronto though, maybe. Although Bobby probably told you don't even bother. I think that Bobby told him is like, yeah, you're not in our plans. We just did this for a salary move. That's it. Let's see. Kestra saying playoff prison fight. I mean, I don't think Diabate is normally a guy who loses his temper. You know, he's friends with RJ. RJ talked about Musa in our interview this year about how proud he is about how he grew as a player this year in the NBA and became a more prominent kind of player in the league. Musa Diabate is not a guy who likes to fight. He's not this kind of dude. He just lost his temper at that time because he thought it was very dirty, the things that were happening with the Pistons and Jalen Duren. And that's not his character. So, you know, I think that, yeah, sure, there may be a little bit of bad blood and a little bit of feelings from that still. But I'll bet you Musa is not going to be the instigator or the one who causes it. He probably learned a lesson about losing his temper and that whole situation. But, you know, it's the Pistons and Beef Stew, he's involved. We'll just have to see how this goes. Seriously. Nako saying Lex, Prime, Brandon Roy, or SGA? Who wins? Oh, SGA, easy. I'm not a big fan of Brandon Roy. You know, Brandon Roy was hyped so much back in the day, Gerald, because he was in the same draft class as Bargnani. And we picked Andrea, and everybody clowned us about that instead of taking Brandon Roy. But Brandon Roy ended up getting hurt, and he didn't have as long a career as Andrea Bargnani. So in some ways, you know, that's another thing. Once again, perceptions and opinions are for each person. And I've always never had a big problem with us taking Bargnani in that situation. I never really did think Bargnani was a bust, even though he wasn't as high profile and he was goofy. You know, Brandon Roy is somebody I always thought was overhyped himself. And I know that he got hurt and it tragically ended his career short, but I've never given him that much respect. SGA all day, every day. Every day. To me, that's not even a close question, Nako. And I'm talking about prime Brandon Roy. I don't give a shit who Brandon Roy was for like a few seasons in Portland. Fuck that. SGA every day. Every day. Smooth saying Detroit will win in 5 against the Hornets or the Magic. Doesn't matter who it is. Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see. If Concanipple can get going, maybe. Who knows? You know, Miles Bridges acts like he's throwing a brick through a car when he's playing them. I don't know. We'll have to see. Brandon Miller. There's some weapons on the Hornets team. They have some very interesting nucleus. We'll just have to see. It's all got to be played out, and we'll have to see. Yeah, Smooth saying that Detroit's the number 1 seed. Yep. They're the number 1 seed, and we're in the 4-5. So we're in the bracket with them. So whoever wins our series will play the winner of their series. Yep. G saying this. I agree with Chris Paul, too. They did him dirty in his vet years. Could have handled that with class. Yep. There's nothing wrong with what he did, as far as I'm concerned. Nako saying Scotty the Tatum, BI the Brown. Yeah, I don't see this. I mean, I get your comparison, but they're not the same positions, and in some ways, it's not really the same kind of situation. The person that makes it totally different is Scotty. Maybe you could put that with Brandon and RJ. Look more like Tatum and Brown to me, but Scotty is not like either Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown. Scotty's just a whole other, like, he's an anomaly in some ways in this league at this point. There's nobody in this league like Scotty Barnes. And I just can't make this comparison. I don't see it. In some ways, what you're talking about is a 2-prong attack for the Celtics. Well, we have a 3-prong attack. And people need to stop sleeping on RJ Barrett and not understanding that, for a good part of the first half of the season, that was a three-prong attack that was very well balanced between Barnes, Barrett, and Brandon. So, I don't see it this way at all. I don't see it this way because there's three of our guys. They have two over there. Fiercely saying this. Let's see. Or Smooth saying that's a heady comparison, man. Tatum and Brown. Yeah, I don't know about it. I don't like it. It doesn't really fit to me. Fiercely saying absolutely. There's been huge fights between Detroit and Charlotte. A matchup will be fire, and she's getting the popcorn. Okay, cinema, huh? Cinema. Jimmy Pope's here. Good morning, the Pope of Positivity. Mamu forcing those bigs out of the paint will be important. Yeah, he can get outside and be a three-point threat. Any way we can draw Jared Allen away from the basket is probably smart. It's probably smart. Scotty had such glowing things to say about Evan Mobley, saying that he's a 7-footer that can do so many things that most anybody can do, but he does it at 7 foot. He has a lot of compliments for Evan Mobley. Yeah. Let's see. G saying Boston is a well-oiled machine. That's like when Kawhi left the Raps. We're still a number 1 seed. Difference is Tatum came back. Yeah, I mean, I guess you could make that comparison there. Kawhi left, and the Raptors had the best season record-wise the year after he left. The best season of Raptors basketball in the regular season was the year after Kawhi left. Yeah. I don't know. It's so different, though. There's a lot of it's so different, the situation with Boston this year. Very, very different. Kareem's saying, I don't even think Boston is that good aside from Brown, Tatum, that little shit Pritchard, and White. Other than that, Coach Mazzulla is the reason why they never fell off this year. He's my coach of the year. Yeah, I wouldn't give him coach of the year, but I will agree with you. I think that the way he coaches that team and the culture he set is a huge reason why they did what they did this year. Brown, Pritchard, White, Tatum, sure. But after that, I agree with you that also is like after that, it's a little slim pickings. Everybody can stop talking about Kata this or whatever that. I mean, whatever, man. The dude's limited and he's a very cheap player that they got, and he's really good for what he gets paid. But come on, let's not go overboard with Kata. Just because he can do some offensive rebounding doesn't mean he's a superstar. Come on now. Nako's saying, I want the Hornets to upset Boston. Okay, that could happen. There's a history in that kind of stuff. But Boston's not playing them. Boston's going to play Philly. Boston will play Philly in the first round. And for Boston to get the Hornets, that means the Hornets have to beat. That's not even lining up in the right brackets. That would mean the Eastern Conference Finals. And that means we're out, Detroit's out, and it's the Hornets versus the Celtics somehow in the Eastern Conference Finals. That's not likely. Jimmy's saying this. To me, Grady should have always been a release valve type of player. I don't know if it's a coaching misstep or Grady trying to do too much or what, but we should have told him from the get-go, just let it fly. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. The thing is, we let him let it fly, but it was just clanking. And that's the thing. It's like we lost confidence in him to make his threes, and we went away from him, and he fell out of the rotation. We gave him a lot of chances in the beginning of the year, all the way through to the middle of the year, and then he just got out of the rotation. And there's some signs of him making his three again in garbage time, but it's really he's got to get our confidence back. That's what I'm saying. Like there could be a situation in this playoffs where Grady's number is called and Darko says, I need you to get in there, Grady. And I need you to either be in there for space in the floor as a decoy or even as a real, like we need you to make threes because we need points right now. So there is a plug in and play kind of thing about Grady Dick that could be useful to the Raptors in the playoffs. It's just how you're going to use him. He's not going to be a main player. He's not going to get a bulk of time. But there really could be situational stuff where we use Grady. So one of the things that is really good with Grady is inbounds plays. Like if we have an inbounds play that we need to do very well, Darko could sub him in really quick just to run off a screen and get a really quick three in the corner or a layup or something off of an inbounds play. So he could be used situationally. It could also be that they want to put him out there with Battle and do Battle Dick formation and have them out there to space the floor more to help us and get guys out of the paint on their defense. That could be part of it too. Yeah, we'll have to see. Stargate's here. Good morning, Raptor Freak family. Good morning to you, Stargate. Reggie's saying, guys, ladies, wait till the outcome is decided between the Magic and Hornets. Charlotte hasn't won yet. Yeah, plus it's in Orlando. Yeah, we'll have to see. We'll have to see. Either way, I'm pulling for Hornets myself. Yeah. Neil's saying this. You have to have multiple flagrants to warrant a suspension. I don't believe LaMelo has anywhere close to the limit, so this call doesn't matter since the game is done. We got fined. He got fined. But I mean, I agree with the NBA not wanting to suspend a player, especially if they've got a one and done play-in game as their next game. And they could say, "Oh, he's suspended for the next game in the regular season next year." That may be the right decision. Or if they make it to past the play-in, he may be suspended for game one of the first of the series. But either way, it's probably smart that they didn't suspend him; they just fined him because in some ways he is an important player to their team, and it is kind of cheap to suspend somebody in a play-in part of the season. It's kind of cheap to do that. Let's see. Neil saying Spoelstra should have called timeout to challenge the refs. That could have been a possibility that could have changed that, or at least say something. Although the refs sometimes are really stubborn and say, no, we're not going to go review this right now. You don't get a chance to do this. They do pick and choose whether they want to listen to the coaches and actually review stuff. They can say just out of blue, and this may not be consistent. No, this is a play that you can't review. I'm sorry. This call is already done and we're done. We're moving forward. They do this all the time. And when coaches want to call something like a challenge or review for a flagrant, and the refs will ignore them and they won't do it. They said, this is not a situation where you can challenge. I'm sorry. They do that sometimes. So it could have been like that too. And Spoelstra was trying. Who knows? Smith saying this. OKC also gets the Sixers first round pick as well. 2 lottery picks. Unreal. Well, whatever. I mean, that's Sam Presti's philosophy is to collect picks, and he's done a very good job of fleecing people and getting really, part of it's also he's been lucky because he's been making these deals with teams that should have been good, but they've failed, and he gets their good draft picks because of this. We said this all year. If the Clippers don't do well enough, that the Thunder would get this pick, and well, it's happened. It's happened. They didn't do well enough. Let's see, 2nd and 15th or 16th. There you go. Cool Cat's here. Good morning to Cool Cat. Good morning, Raptor Freak crew. Another great play-in game. Steph Curry really came back to help his team. Man, Kawhi really needed his Raptors teammates to win. Facts. Ben Mathurin's not enough. I like Ben Mathurin. But yeah, not enough, Darius Garland and the guys there. It's too bad. It is what it is. I was rooting for the Clippers, but now I'm kind of glad they lost because Chris Paul's getting his revenge. And that's kind of cool. Always good to see you, Cool Cat. I'm wishing you the best. I hope that just good healing and magical good energy is coming towards you for positive good changes. That's right. Fiercey saying, Fiercey likes Nako calling too. Yeah, if y'all want to call and you have access to the number, I'll take one more call while we're on the show today. We'll do about 3 hours. Maybe I'll get done faster than that. Let's see. Reggie's saying, I will say that Orlando looks like Toronto before Nick Nurse got fired. Yeah, I could see that. You're just a Charlotte hater. Yeah, that's funny. That's funny. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm a LaMelo hater, but in some ways I kind of like, and I don't like Miles Bridges. It's kind of a case like with a lot of the NBA teams. There's like players on the teams that I like, and then players I absolutely detest. And I can't stand LaMelo Ball or Miles Bridges. But I actually really like Con Knipple, and I kind of like Brandon Miller too. I think Brandon Miller is a great player, and so it's a weird thing. It's like I like Jaylen Brown, but I hate Jason Tatum. It's that kind of thing. It's that kind of thing. I kind of like Franz Wagner, but I don't like Paulo. I do not like Banchero. So it's like pick and choose. There's different people on different teams that are. I'm like I'm cool with you, but man, I can't stand your teammate. There's a lot of that. A lot of that. Raptors in 5, Fiercey. That's what you're saying. I love it. I love it. Uji Buji's saying this. Good morning, freaks. Getting hyped for the game. Our young bench, dudes like RJ and Yak, need to hit the basket and play intense defense throughout. Cavs previews show Strus and Ellis as X factors. Yeah, I mean, that's natural to look at. I mean, you could even say that Wade and Merrill could be X factors if they're allowed to do too much three-point shooting unhindered. Any of those guys that can get going threes, Tomlin If they let him play, if he's a part of their playoff rotation, he could be an X factor in some sort of weird way because he's a very active player with length. And Tyson, he's a hard-nosed player too. That guy's a very hard-nosed player. They've got a couple ballers that are young on their bench that we don't want to carve out any kind of role of excellence or positivity for the Cavs in contributions. But once again, like I've been saying near the end of this season, the teams that win NBA games are who has the most people contributing in winning ways on their side. And if you only have one or two guys going off and you limit everybody else, you can win if you have like 6 or 7 of your guys contributing in winning ways around there. So those bit players like Strus and Wade and Merrill and Tomlin and Keon Ellis, Dennis Schroeder, we need to limit their impacts and their helpfulness to the big players for the Cavs, the big four. We need to do as much to limit their impact and make them, as many of them have goose eggs and be absolutely ineffective cardio merchants out on the court as much as possible. This is a way to get the win right there. Right there. Stargate saying this, both Cleveland's both Cleveland's bigs are a bit banged up. Mobley is also dealing with a little what is that, niggle as well? I don't know what that means. That must be a term that you use, Stargate, that I don't know. Yeah, I mean, everybody's banged up to a degree. It's not like our guys are perfect either. You can look at IQ and there's a sliding scale from him all the way through. It's not like Colin's thumbs are going to get totally healed by Saturday. There's going to be different, things that different people are dealing with in different places on both sides, honestly, all of them. Harden's not any younger. In some ways, he's got to be worn down a bit from this season, too. That's right. Jeff Guara's here, man. Just got a new sub. Thanks, Jeff. Appreciate that, man. If you sub up to the channel, you can be a participant in our chat, and I read every comment. And I do this every morning. I've been covering the Raptors really close since Scotty came to the team. And this will be almost 5 years. I've been doing a daily live stream at 9:30 every day on the Raptor Freak channel. And I'm welcome to the fold, Jeff. I hope you find camaraderie and information and entertainment from the Raptor Freak channel. That's what we do here. And this is a two-way street every day. So if you ever have a burning desire to get opinions about the Raptors or the tempo or CBL or any basketball in Canada kind of stuff, this is a great avenue for you to espouse your thoughts and feelings. So welcome, Jeff. Thank you for the subscription. Yeah. Fiercely saying welcome to stream to Jeff. I like that. Smooth saying this, no Luka, no Austin for the Lakers. Rockets should win this series in 5. Yeah, we'll just have to see. You guys, I love the predictions, and we're just going to have to see how this all lays out. I tried to make predictions on the play-ins, and I gotten most of them right. I did not get the Warriors-Clippers right, though. I did not get that right. I've gotten all the other games right so far. Philly, Charlotte, and actually, I didn't get the Portland game right either. So I'm not getting the West games right. I'm getting the East games right, though. Nako's saying Rockets should win the series in 4. You think they'll sweep the Lakers? Man, that's on LeBron's shoulders. We'll just have to see. Maybe Freddie's sitting on the court talking about LeBronto days with the Raptors and say, let's get him back. Let's get King James back from my team on the Raptors when he used to do that to us when I was in Toronto. Let's get him back. Let's sweep him out. Yeah, that'd be fun. Coach Van Vliet directing the young Rockets, Jabari and all them, Alperin, and getting them to go beat them with Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant versus LeBron James, first round matchup. That's fun. That's fun right there. Just alone, KD versus LeBron. That's fun right there. That's right. Echo Beach Blues is back. Good to see a great rookie of the year, Raptor Freak. Cap geeks are worse than stat nerds. Yeah. I mean, they're kind of cousins to each other, right? There's all number crunching. In some ways, it's like, look, as I said in recent streams, you got to have a balance. Stats are important. You can look at stats, box scores. Salary cap, what are you doing that? You're not in that part of the world. So why even do that? But stats, I can respect people that get into the stats and try and find things out. But analytics alone to stand on, it's just not smart to analyze the game just by stats. You have to have the eye test. You have to watch the games. You have to understand the stuff that just doesn't show up in numbers. And then you can have a more well-rounded thing. I think that in some ways, that's part of what gets lost on Pirtle is that there's a whole lot of unspoken, unstat kind of things about Pirtle and what he brings to the Raptors that is so necessary that just doesn't translate into figures. And I think that that's part of the reason why people are so down on him. It's like they could look just at his stat line, they could look at how much money he's making, but do you realize just having his presence on the court changes the Raptors' identity and allows us to be more, tougher around the basket and a little bit more competitive as far as in the paint and with rebounds and stuff? This is all an add-on with Yak that is just not factored in sometimes on this. And I'll plead a case for the big Austrian hammer every single day on this stream because once again, are we paying Yak? Do we give a shit if he's overpaid? Why do we care if he's overpaid or not? Oh, because it's taking too much of the cap and we can't get other players. That's why, Lex. Who knows if we can get any fucking other players? And what you're talking about is just made up shit. It's not the reality. The reality is we've invested in him. And honestly, I have no problem with it because he's diehard for our team. And once again, do you see American centers? Do you see big guys in this league lining up to come to Toronto? No, you don't. This has been the case for a long time. I've often questioned whether we have a weird on the down low blacklisting that no bigs are allowed to come to Toronto and we're only allowed to have one center. Are they clamoring to come here? And do you notice that our bigs happen to be European guys and not Americans? That's what I'm saying. There may very well be a limit to what we can do with our big man position in this league because Bobby lives on the moon and we don't know what living on the moon's like as a GM in the NBA. There may very well be an unwritten thing or something where it's saying, yeah, these bigs are not coming to Toronto and Bobby's doing the best he can with what is available. And he's signing Yak to get that landed and locked in because we need a pivot. We need a center. We've ran without a center in the last 5 years, and it's been a disaster. When Yak is out, we see just how much we lack that position and that true center kind of stuff that we need. And in some ways, yeah, and maybe you do pay a little bit more just to have that kind of presence on your team. Because what is the alternative? Aaron Baines and Alex Len? So it's like Raptors fans, realize this. And that, sometimes just like surveillance pricing, this awful thing that we're hearing about, sometimes the price is different for Toronto than it is for New York because the customer is different. Just like they know if they know your net worth at the grocery store or you're buying something online and they may have a different price for you than your neighbor because there's surveillance pricing. There's a little bit of that going on with the whole price of Jakob that people don't talk about right there. Stat nerds are a baseball phenomenon that spread to other sports. Yeah, I don't mind busting stats. I don't mind looking at rebounds and the assist to turnover ratio and all this stuff. But going too deep on analytics or trying to run your team solely from analytics is folly, and you will get failure from it. You will get failure from it. If the rumors are true that the Leafs were running off of analytics and AI this year, and it led to their outcome with what they did this season, well, that sucks. I'm hearing that Keith Pelly actually did barge in to the Leafs front office and tell them who to trade for and do all this kind of stuff, that he was absolutely manipulating and getting involved in Leaf management this year when he probably shouldn't have. Thank God he doesn't know nothing about basketball. And he ain't coming to Bobby like that, like he did towards Trevelling and the Leafs this year. Is, man, that sounds stupid. You're going to use AI to figure out your decisions as a team? Well, is AI that good? Have you tried to order at McDonald's through AI yet? That's what I say. AI's got a lot of bugs, and I think that it's stupid for any sports team to use AI to figure out what you should do right now because, honestly, it's like AI 0.1, right? And there's all kinds of bugs with the first kind of things coming out. Maybe down the road, AI will be able to run a sports team pretty good, but not now. This is the beginning of the frontier, and there's so many bugs to work out. And that's probably why the Leafs did so bad this year, trying to run it on AI. That's crazy to me. Yeah. Nacho the Nacho, even better. That's right. Let's see. Kesper is saying this. MLSE likes to pretend they're cash strapped or they're actually cash strapped, and they made everyone think we can't afford anyone. Some of it is like, it's not even about like the money towards, it's like the ESPN and everybody just loves dumping on Yak's contract. And it's so ingrained and just drummed in that Raptors fans can't let it go. and they can't see Yak for the benefits of what he's doing. All they see is just this idea of this albatross contract that they think it is. To me, listen, I'll say it once again. I'm a basketball fan. I don't care what they're getting paid. I don't care about the salary cap stuff. If the salary cap isn't managed for us to win, well, we can adjust it and hopefully do better over time. But I'm not going to get upset or turn on a player just because of money issues, because that's not what matters to me, at least as a fan. Y'all want to get all bent out of shape about the contract of Jakob Poeltl. Raptors fans, you go ahead. But in some ways, that's a waste of energy. And in some ways, it's toxic energy, and it's just not useful. It's not useful. So is it going to change anything? Are you hoping that Bobby will trade him? Well, what are we going to get in return for him at this point? And also, he's going to be very valuable more and more as time goes on. Trust me. Y'all think his back is making him wash. He's going to be no good and stuff like that. But I don't agree with this. I think that he's going to figure it out, and we're going to get better Yak over time coming forward. Seriously, we may see him very important in this first round. If he outplays Jared Allen this whole series, I want all the Yak haters to shut the fuck up. I seriously do. If I see Jakob Poeltl outplay Jared Allen and absolutely dominate him like he has in games I've seen when we played them, I want all the Yak people to shut up that are against Yak. I seriously do. If he comes in and he does something like that. Seriously. That's what I'm saying. The CPA league. That's right. They put the CPAs, get all those wannabe accountants and stat crunchers and capologists to have their own little fantasy league. And maybe it's all numbers. They don't even keep the stats on the games. They just keep the stats on the salaries. Kareem saying this: I hope the Suns lose simply because I don't like Devin Booker. I know we went over this the other day. You don't like Devin Booker. This guy complained about a mascot in an empty gym. It's funny. It's not really a big deal. Meanwhile, he plays in front of 30,000 people 82 times a year. He dropped 73 points. No, I got to respect Devin Booker, especially since the last time we played him, he totally killed us. But yeah, nah, man, you can be you can be against Devin Booker. That's your right. I'm not going to say irrationally. We all have our favorites and our non-favorites. I don't mind Devin Booker. I don't care about the feud with him and the Raptor. I don't know why are you bringing this up again. In one game, he still lost. Shows me that type of player he is. Well, he didn't have a lot of help. That's what I would say, and that's the folly for the Suns right now. Is they're a two-man show? If Dylan can show up, they're a three-man show. But yeah, they're a two-man show with Booker and Green. Yeah, we already talked about this. Why are you bringing this up again? Your hate for Devin Booker gets the same song on the jukebox, just so you know. Kaz is saying, good morning, Lex and Raptorfreaks crew. Good morning to you, Trucker Kaz. Hope you're having a great morning and you're safe on the road. Smooth saying this: Roy had chronic knee issues in college. Raptors knew about that. Colangelo said that. I remember. See, we did our homework, and that's why we didn't draft him. But it didn't stop people from second-guessing it and saying that we should have taken Brandon Roy over Andrea Bargnani in 2007. Oh, yeah, that was totally going on. And just like Jalen Suggs and Scotty Barnes, that bullshit. Just like that. Yeah, just like that. When have the Raptors fans been more right than the front office? Ed O'Bannon. Come on now. Come on now. Seymour saying salute the whole chat. There you go. Salute the sheriff. That's right. So good to hear your voice on the phone again today. Kaloy saying, look at Orlando, a second apron team, just a year away from being the up next team. Hey, Lex, did you read an article yesterday about the Leafs? It says that Pelly was presenting trades to for the Leafs and was generated by AI. What a goof. I know. He has some dude he works with that works for him. He has I don't remember his name, but he's like a specialist in this kind of stuff. And he's like the right-hand man of Keith Pelly right now, as far as analyzing profitable ways to do things. Yeah, once again, anything that's initially AI right now, I'm going to say is bugs. I'm going to say it's not effective. Because, like, look, even when you ask stuff to AI, it's not giving you correct answers already right now. So why the hell would you ask the AI who you should trade for on your hockey team? Like, that is just stupid. In some ways, it's lazy. It's lazy, Keith Pelly. It's lazy. It sounds like you need to leave the hockey stuff to hockey people and stop trying to bring AI into the room. It's seriously, this guy needs to get fired. That's what you feel like? No, they fired the GM. They fired Brad Trevelling instead. He's like related to the Boston Pizza guy, right? Jim Trevelling, who's on Dragon's Den, right? Isn't he his son or something? I think he's his son. So they fired the Boston Pizza guy's son, who was running the Leafs this year, right? AI general managing is crazy work. I know it's ridiculous. It's not at that point. Maybe in like 5-10 years, it'll be like more sound and more mainstream and make more sense. Once again, man, in some ways, there's a human factor involved in everything in life that is absolutely probably supreme to AI because there's a soul behind human interaction and human thought and human decision making. There may be aspects that AI just can't think about because it doesn't have a gut feeling. It doesn't have an intuition. It just goes by the knowledge and the facts that it sees online. But there may be a whole human factor about intuition that AI will never ever be able to grasp. So I think it's folly. I think that if it's been working for a long time, if you're a good GM, if you're a loser front office, like a lot of NBA front offices that don't know what they're doing, maybe AI will help you. But I would say if it's Bobby Webster and Masai Ujiri before him, these kind of people are smart and they know what they're doing and they probably do a better job than AI would tell them. You know what I'm saying? But maybe some of these front offices like Chicago, Milwaukee, Washington, maybe they need AI to help them to try and figure out what they're doing. Sacramento, these teams might need AI. Kaloy saying, I have my hopes for Pelly, but it looks like he's going to be cancer for MLSE. I don't like using that word for that either. I don't know. As long as he's not messing with us, the Leafs were crash and burn this year, and there's fallout. And this article that you're talking about that came out is kind of to explain to Leafs Nation why the hell everything went so bad this year. And well, it is kind of troublesome, some of the things. But once again, I'll say this. Bobby's doing a good job, and this is why I'm so glad they chose Bobby and they didn't hire a new person last summer after Ujiri left. Bobby's doing a good job and they're making money and the team's winning. Keith Pelly don't have to mess with them. That's what I'm saying. Keith Pelly don't have to mess with them in the least. If there was anything that Keith Pelly and Ed Rogers did to the Raptors this year, they made them run on one less person on their roster with an empty roster spot all year. And then Bobby is such a whiz. He was able to manage it, and Darko was able to manage it as a coach without having that extra body this whole year. The Raptors played with the chamber empty this whole entire year, pretty much. We filled it like once or twice at the end of the year with Markelle Fultz and Tyreek Key, but that's it. And, if that was the level of the meddling that Keith Pelly had for Bobby Webster this year, I'll be happy. That's it. But, man, it sounds like he was really all up in the Leafs business. And that ain't right. That ain't right. No, it ain't right, man. Echo Beach Blues is saying Pelly seems so incompetent. Yeah, Kaloy saying, I'm going to post the article in Discord later. It was crazy. I think it is in there already. And I read it. I actually read part of it already. And I saw like kind of what they were saying, that he came into their office with AI trades and he tried to force the Leafs GM to make these trades just because AI told him. This is crazy. Echo Beach is saying the old boys club should stick to their own sport. So dumb. People are so enamored with AI. Yeah, it's going to be the ruin of us. I don't think it's a good thing. I think it's something that people are not understanding, that, the science of the science fiction from movies past, like Terminator, is sound. The logic is sound in it. The logic is sound in it. If we program the AI to be efficient and correct and to be like getting the best results, at some point they're going to realize the human factor is not helping for the best results, and they're going to get rid of the human factor. Here's another really crazy, scary thing that's in the news. Ukraine in the last week beat a Russian group of soldiers solely using drones and robots. No soldiers at all. No humans were involved in an operation. They sent robot soldiers and drones, and they stopped a Russian force just solely with no humans involved. In some ways, that's great because maybe human lives will be saved. But is that only great for the side that has that technology, and the other side that still has human cost will get run roughshod by robots that you can't kill, right? Now apply this to like 20 years down the road. And if this is commonplace where warfare is fought with drones and robots, think about that for humanity. And that is like a plot from James Cameron and Terminator series. I mean, seriously, they did this week. This is historic. Ukraine and Zelensky literally won a battle against Russia using completely robots and drones and no human interaction from the Ukrainian side. And they stopped and they captured Russian soldiers and took them as prisoners with drones. and robots. So this shit is coming quick. And we live in a really interesting time in history where things are fast tracking. And the changes are going to come so quick that we're going to have our head spinning. We're going to have our head spinning on this. And if there's no responsible rollout of it or ethics about it, we could be in big trouble. We could be in big, big trouble. Seriously. Smith's saying Keith Pelly's a soccer guy. That's his first love. That's right. AI is a problem. Allen Iverson used to be a problem for sure back in his playing days. Let's see. Kaloy saying MLSC has an innovation department, and that guy is the head of it. And for the Raptors side, they were working with analytics stuff with it. If there's trends they can show Bobby and Dan Tolzman and the front office of the Raptors, that's useful. That's helpful. But I hope that they're not dictatorial and saying you have to do it this way and this way and this way. And it should never come to the point where Keith Pelly's forcing Bobby Webster to make moves or decisions because he told them to. Let Bobby run the team. Bobby has been doing a great job with Masai for over a decade already. And he knows the Raptors. He knows the legacy of Ujiri, and he knows the right ways to do things and the way that we did it in the past that adds up to success. I don't give a shit about any of the negative Raptors fans who say we've been garbage since the championship and all of our decisions have been horrible. That's absolutely not true. There has been so many good decisions since our championship, a lot of great draft picks, and some very good trades too. So they just don't get the championship. They think everything's not good enough. And they hasn't done a good enough job because we haven't won a championship again since. Unrealistic nephews that don't understand the NBA and how difficult it is to get to the top. Seriously, that's part of it right there. Kaloy saying this, quote from the article, that included the Raptors, who had embraced the support of MLSC's Sports Performance Lab, which included everything from AI to analytics to biomechanics, and found success from it. Yeah, as long as Bobby's got him at arm's length and he can say no and Keith Pelly will listen to him, we're good. We're good. In some ways, the Leafs have weird problems with their leadership, and nobody is set as the leader of that. And that's part of the problem. The Raptors were good once Tim Lewicki hired Masai and put him in that spot, one cook in the kitchen, a figurehead, a leader. There's so many different people involved in Leafs leadership that it gets fuzzy and it gets dragged every which way. And this is part of the reason why the Leafs are not successful. And they can't find the right person to guide them. They tried Shanahan, they tried different people, and it's just not working because there's other egos involved and there's other people. And especially if Keith Pelly's coming in as the head of MLSC and telling the GM how to do his job for the Leafs, that's not one cook in the kitchen. That's not one person with the vision that builds the whole thing and the vision that they see, because that's what you need in sports to win. You need a visionary. You need a one person like a Masai Ujiri who sees the whole big picture, and every little transaction, every little decision you make is building towards that big picture. If you have a lot of different people in charge and they all have their different egos and there's a power struggle even where you're fighting and pulling in a different direction, you'll get ineffective teams like the Leafs. That's the big difference right there. That's the big difference. Yeah, Kesper is saying this. If the AI data is from the American side, then we're in trouble because the data will definitely, like the media, and be one-sided. Like you want your data to come from Bleacher Report. I know that's another thing. What feeds all this data? What feeds the AI? The misrepresentation and misconceptions of the Raptors may not be allowing for the AI to be very truthful about us, because there's a lot of lies told about the Raptors in a lot of places. There's a lot of lies all over the place. Stargate saying niggle is an actual word, Lex. It's in the dictionary, not a word I made up. I'm not used to it. I don't think I ever use it. Like, I'll go look it up. I don't know what it means. I got a degree in English. I have a degree in writing. It's something that I've never, ever come across. Maybe it's partly because of where I grew up. Okay, the word niggle primarily means to cause slight but persistent annoyance, discomfort, or anxiety. Okay, criticize or annoy someone in a petty way. Okay, I mean, it's in some ways the root word in some ways can get you in dangerous territory. And in some ways, I guess that may be part of the reason why it's a word that has been obscured from me in my 50 years of life. I may be in an old Chaucer novel or some books or something like that. In some ways, it's just I've never come across it until today. We all have blind spots. I mean, don't we? I'm sure there's a word out there that you haven't heard ever before in your life too. Trevor's saying this. There is a rumor that the Raptors could bring back Justin Champagnie after imminent cut. Well, it's not going to happen now. That's not going to happen right now. There's no moves to be made for the postseason. We're going in the postseason what we got right now. But in the offseason, maybe this happens. But we're doing everything in the right order. Whatever that rumor is, just make sure it's not Raptors fans wanting to do a reunion tour with the Sunner, Mr. Justin. I'm not for this idea. I think that some people made this up because they think we need rebounding help, and Justin is a good choice for that. I don't want Justin Champagnie back here. I'm not with this. I think he was a bad influence on our team, and I'm not with Justin Champagnie coming back. Even if he's older and wiser and more mature, I'm not with this because in some ways he has a history with Scotty from their rookie year, and in some ways he was a bad influence on Scotty. And I don't think he's the right person to come back to our team. I really don't. I really, really don't. I'd much rather go get a different player that's out in the NBA world than revisiting Justin Champagnie. That's me personally. That's how I feel. And Fiercey's saying hard pass on Champagnie too. Yeah, he's a very tough ultimate competitor. He's a dog. He gets in there and fights. But he's also, there's a side of him in the team concept that isn't exactly a team player. And it was evidenced by his whole stupid sunning thing that he did when he was a rookie. This is a big mistake. He really tainted himself with his reputation with me, just acting like an ass as a rookie, as a Raptor. Yeah. Jimmy's saying humans make decisions, not robots. Wrong direction. Yeah. I mean, we're going to just have to, we're in this world and we're going to be living through what's happening and we're just going to have to see how it all changes. And I would just say, be vigilant, y'all. And if there is a fight between humans versus artificial intelligence and robots, well, we got to be ready to try and stop this. It sounds so crazy. It sounds so stupid, like a bad B movie, but it may be real. It may be real. Yeah. Kaloy's saying, let's go, freaks. There's no pressure from our end with the Raptors. The Cavs are title or bust, and we can ruin that. Yeah, there is definitely something to apply in that, to definitely apply on that. Yeah. And Stargate saying, where's Wayne? Haven't seen him in a while. Hope everything's okay. There's a few people that have been kind of AWOL and missing recently. Sergeant Wayne Strainer, infamous. Seymour was gone for a little while too. I don't know. I mean, people come and go around this channel. And, you know, often it's usually a life event happens and they're very busy taking care of that. And their ability to have free time to be here during our stream is not there at that point. So, yeah, Sergeant Wayne Strainer, I'm sure he's going to be back around. Hopefully everything's okay for him, too. I worry about you guys when I don't see you every once in a while. I do notice. I'm not going to lie. I do notice. All right, let me start wrapping things up since we've gotten to the end of the chat. And there are some things I need to do. All right. First of all, we kind of went over that. Okay. I read the Raptors Reddit of the day. Let's do the straight goods on Canadian goods. Guys, for over 30 years, McSweeney's has been crafting premium jerky and meat snacks that celebrate the best of Canadian quality and craftsmanship. With a dedication to Canadian producers, our beef products are 100% Canadian, while our turkey line is made from 100% Canadian turkey. Naturally smoked and carefully seasoned, our jerky, steak strips, nuggets, and pepperoni snacks are crafted to ensure exceptional taste and quality in every bite, offering a protein-rich, satisfying snack for any occasion. Rooted in commitment to excellence, McSweeney's partners with Canadian ranchers and farmers to uphold the highest sourcing standards. As a trusted name in premium meat snacks, we continue to innovate while staying true to our heritage. Whether fueling your next adventure or looking for a delicious high-protein snack, McSweeney's delivers bold flavors and uncompromising quality because Canadians deserve nothing less. So yeah, don't get the Slim Jim, don't get the Jack Links, get McSweeney's or the Great Canadian Meat Jerky companies and support Canada industry, Canadian beef producers, and McSweeney's itself. So yeah, McSweeney's is out of BC. And they're also very much involved with Alberta. So, yeah, I've got two types here. I've got the original and the teriyaki here right now for your favorite of what you prefer. So yeah, McSweeney's, straight goods on Canadian goods. Get beef jerky from McSweeney's. That's right. No Jack Links, no Slim Jim, Macho Man. Oh yeah, no, none of that. That's right, guys. We have great Canadian meat company is good too. They're very, very good. And McSweeney's is the other jerky company that I like to buy jerky from too. But they're both Canadian, so they're both good choices. Let's do a couple birthdays today. In fact, I was going to see if we had a special guest today. I kind of reached out to somebody earlier this week, and I was hoping that maybe they could come by. But alas, I guess they didn't find value or didn't want to come here right now. But I wish them a happy birthday, and I'm going to do it now too. And that's that man that had that jersey right there that's sitting on my wall right there. That is a number 7 for Keon Clark. And it is Keon Clark's 51st birthday today. I want to celebrate a great Raptor for his playoff contributions and his time on the team. Now, he was a person that had problems with substance abuse. And every single game that he played for us, he was intoxicated. But luckily, Keon Clark, after time in prison, and different kind of things happening to him, he found sobriety. He found the rooms, and now he's in a much better place. In fact, I follow Keon on social media, and I'm just so happy to hear his story on the other side of getting sober. You know, Keon had a very serious drinking problem. He used to drink at halftime during Raptors games. He'd drink before the game and in the middle of the game. And if you saw him on the court with glassy eyes and staggering a little bit, it's because he was full on drunk. He was drinking things like vodka and stuff like that in between the Raptors games. And, he never played for us sober. He's admitted this since. But thank God, Keon, through whatever in his path, he found sobriety, and he's found a place where he's clear-headed and he's captured his life back. And he has control over it. And I'm so proud of him. He's an outstanding role model of sobriety, an outstanding role model for people to see you can be in really bad places, dark places, go through the trauma, go through the sadness, and come through it and beat it in the end. And that's what he symbolizes to me. Keon Clark's very outspoken on social media these days, politically, and also about his journey and what he learned through it. And he gives back all the time to people. He's a fantastic person to be a role model for people that have problems with substance abuse, whether they're alcoholics or drug abusers. The Keon's story is just really inspiring and awesome. So I want to say happy 51st birthday to Keon Clark. And that is his jersey on my wall. And that's Seymour's jersey when he comes back to Toronto. I'm going to give it to him. So yeah, happy birthday, Keon. Happy 51st birthday. Also, I want to say happy birthday to one of the original Raptors, Walt Williams. The Wizard Walt Williams has his birthday today also. He played 2 years for the Raptors, 101 games. Started 89 of them, and he averaged 15 points per game. His career high in the NBA was while he was on the Raptors. So we want to say a happy birthday to number 42, the Wizard, Walt Williams. It is his birthday also today. So happy birthday to Keon and Walt. That's right. That's right. Let's see. Props to him. Stargate saying, in my opinion, both Mitchell and Harden do not complement each other in a playoffs type environment, and it will undoubtedly show in the series. They are too much alike. That's not conducive to playoff play. I can get behind this. I can see what you're saying, that they're kind of duplicitous and a little bit. Yeah, I can see this. And, you can also make the argument, because I was trying to say this in the last couple of days. You could trap the Cavs into trying to play a certain way with Harden and Mitchell that's ineffective. Like, you could really give them bait and say, we're going to give you this, James, and hope that he goes for it. And it's absolutely shooting them in the foot because it's absolutely ineffective, or it's just not efficient. This is something you can do to both of them. Both of them can have very inefficient games where they shoot almost 30 shots and they don't shoot a good percentage. So there could actually be very much in the works with the Raptors coaching staff this week. How do we give them the bait to go and be bad versions of themselves by giving them their tendencies that lead to that a more open path, and say, yeah, it's kind of like leaving Scott open last year for threes. It's like, oh, we can leave Scotty open because he's not going to make threes. Well, are there ways we can play the Cavs defensively that can kind of lead them to inefficient outcomes because we leave something for them with those two guys. I agree with you. I think that they're very similar. Yeah, look at the teams who have as players who are alike and their success or lack thereof in the playoffs. Diversity is always a winner, whether it's in your ecosystem, whether it's in your society, whether it's in your corporation, whether it's in your basketball team. And if you have too many guys that are the same, we kind of learned this with the 6'9" monster that we built with all these wings on our team a few years ago, that it's like you don't have enough good looks or different kind of diversity in weapons. In some ways, you're not as better off as the other team. I would say the Raptors have a very diverse starting five with the different guys and what they can do. And Mobley and Allen, they're different to an extent, but in some ways they're kind of similar. And then Harden and Mitchell, like he's saying, how much are they playing the same tunes on their instruments? That's what I would say right there. That's right. How much are they playing the same tunes? Yeah, y'all, our WNBA Fantasy League is going to be drafting on Saturday, April the 25th. So be there or be square. And if you're part of our league, I kind of have one spot open. If somebody wants to come in and they're serious about playing fantasy WNBA this year, there is a way you could possibly still get in right now. You got to let it be known, and I got to work with you to get you in there. So if there is anybody who's kind of on the fence and wants it, you better tell me right now if you want it, because I can switch a team out and put you in, because we have one team that's not necessarily going to play this year, and it may be vacant. So let me know on that. Seriously. All right, let's go with the classic card of the day, and let's see what we get. Man, we had this guy not too long ago, but it's a different card, so we'll do it. Why not? We'll do it. All right, y'all, here's the classic card of the day. It's kind of funny. Look at it. And it's so iconic. Look at the shoes, guys. Look at those shoes. Can you tell me who that is just from the shoes? I'm just going to show you the shoes. So give me the full name answer on the classic card. And yeah, D Brown. It's easy. Yeah, it's actually from his Slam Dunk Championship. It's kind of a cool card. I pulled it out there. I know we had D Brown recently. But yeah, look at him. He's sitting on the rim, and he's got his Reebok pumps on. And he's got the dunk championship. Look at him smiling, too. Former Raptor D Brown. It's too easy, though. Look, Stargate actually got in before Slugdeezy. Slugdeezy, you're a second too late on my screen. And let's see. So Stargate's going to get it. D Brown. That's Lexi Brown's dad? I didn't know that. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So Lexi Brown of the WNBA is D Brown's daughter. Very, very cool. All right. Well, you don't get Stargate on the classic card too often. I'm only going to give you 50 points, though. That card is too easy, man. That is too easy. Congratulations, Stargate, on getting the classic card of the day. D Brown. D Brown. All right. I guess I'll wrap it up, y'all. We're in pretty good shape here. I appreciate Seymour and Gerald for calling me today on the call-in show today. I really do appreciate that. And yeah, we'll get out. We'll get out now. So yeah, the Raptors are going to play the Cavs starting on Saturday, the first round of the playoffs. 1 p.m. start. I think a lot of people are overlooking the Raptors in this, and they're too easy to say this is going to be easy series for the Cavs. I think that it's going to be a lot more even than they think. And I think that the possibility of the Raptors upsetting the Cavs and beating them and making a name for themselves from that is very high. I think that our players, they didn't go through this whole season of learning with Darko and building towards something for nothing. And I think that in some ways it'll be very interesting to see how our coach is in the postseason, how our young players are in the postseason, and our superstars like Scotty and Brandon. There's a lot of stuff. They asked Scotty, is there another level you're going to go to next week? And he said, well, you're going to have to see. You're going to have to see. That's what Scotty said. So who knows, man? Scotty, at the place that he's in his career, he has enough wisdom now. He has enough confidence that in some ways he could be a very directed kind of powerful force in understanding the ramifications and the things that are at stake in the playoffs. So don't be surprised if, Brandon or Scotty or both of them, or even RJ too, all have a playoff mode like Kawhi, like levels that they play at a higher level, or they're trying even harder and they just go to another thing. Now, Brandon's may look like he's just really dialed in. He's just bombing shots and looking like Kawhi Leonard, where he just doesn't miss and they can't stop him. Scotty's may look like he's just very active. He's getting on the boards. He's getting people involved. He's such a blanket on defense, covering everybody up. He's taking the toughest assignments. He's covering up guys defensively, but he's also making winning plays like the big block at the end or important shots from time to time too. You know, RJ, he could really be a strong offensive player for us in this series that really drives us and keeps us going when things start to maybe get a little dry or stagnant with our offense. He's been doing that classically for the last couple of years since he came to the Raptors, where we're kind of in a bad place and RJ just bullies his way to get a basket for us to stop the dry spell. You know, IQ, if he's healthy and he has the opportunity to hit big shots to help us win, he will. We know that from what we saw this year. So there's a lot of opportunity here for the Raptors. In some ways, like you guys have said, there's no pressure. We've done so much this year, and so many people expect us to fail that if we succeed, wow, that'll be amazing. And it'll be a really big deal. And it'll make people change their opinion fast, very, very fast, that are thinking we have no chance. And I love it. I love it, especially we win that first match, you know? Stargate saying, isn't it a 4-5 matchup? Didn't we sweep the Cavs this season? Yeah, it's a 4-5 matchup. It's a lot closer, but the experts think it isn't. They don't think it is. It's a 4-5 matchup, and we beat them every time we played them this year. But still, they think that they're going to sweep us. It's crazy, man. Yeah, I don't know. That it's just the NBA's propaganda machine. And you know, we know what it is, Stargate. You and I specifically know what this is. That's right. If it was another team and they were the 5th seed, they wouldn't be saying the Cavs are the overwhelming favorite. It's because it's the Raptors. It's a false narrative. We shouldn't perpetuate it. And the fans may, but the players aren't. In fact, they're insulated away from this noise. And that was evident by Scotty saying, we're the underdogs. I didn't know that. He had no idea. So yeah, keep being like that, Scotty, and don't listen to the noise. Y'all circle of trust has worked so well this whole season. RJ said it straight up in the interview. We don't care. We don't care what other people are saying. We don't care what the perception is. We don't care about their prognostications or what they are predicting. We don't care. We don't care. We haven't cared all year, and that's the same thing right there. Yeah, yeah. The coach of the Cavs is the most concerned person, because he understands what he has to deal with. That's right. All right, let's go, Raptors. Let's go, Raptor Freaks. I'll see y'all tomorrow for a Friday freak out. Let's see who does something egregious so that I have to freak out on them. Maybe it will be more along the lines of what we've been talking about today and freaking out on the perception of just how unbalanced this matchup is between Toronto and Cleveland. It's not like that, and people are going to find that out. At least the ESPN matchup predictor is saying 56% chance for the Cavs. That's not a huge margin. That's pretty like almost even. And that's with the home court advantage for them. So yeah. Anyway, y'all, love you guys. Thanks for calling in on the Raptor Freak call-in show, Thursday Think Tank. And well, I'm excited about the playoffs being back in Toronto. Let's get it ready. Jurassic Park and Raptors fans, we need to bring our A game as we always do for the Raptors in big games and get loud and cheer them on the right way. I'm telling y'all, next week when we have home games here against the Cavs, I want the crowd to chant defense every single time the Cavaliers have the ball, all game long, right from the jump ball all the way to the end of the game. Do it the way I would do it if I'm at the game. Because if you're privileged enough to get to the Raptors playoff game next week, please do this for me. I'm asking you. Please do this. Defense every single time James Harden or any of the Cavaliers have the ball. And we will give a good home court advantage to our Toronto Raptors when they play their games here. They steal the first game of the series. We take care of home. We win the series. That's what we want to do right there. All right, y'all. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Friday Freak Out, 9:30 a.m. Raptor Freak out. Let's go Raptors.